Good evening and welcome to Baiju's exam prep. Am I audible and visible? Good evening, everyone. Am I audible and visible? Meshak, good evening. Anushka, Rajneet, Simran, good evening, everyone. Sumo. Thank you, Anushka. Rupa, good evening. Thank you, Rajneet. Sudhanshu, Ankush, good evening, everyone. Anamika, good evening. Let some more people join in and then I'll begin. Anania, good evening. So last class on Friday, I began with the Mughal Empire. I gave you an overview of the Mughal Empire. Basically, we began with Babur. I told you the background of Babur, circumstances, or in other words, destiny played its own role. That he was shifted from Central Asia to the parts to northwest portions of India. So he became the ruler of Kabul. He had lost everything. There were three powerful entities, political entities in Central Asia during those days. We have looked at it. The Safavids, or the rulers of Iran or Persia. Shah Ismail, the ruler of Persia, who supported Babur. Then um, Shabani Khan Uzbek, the Uzbek ruler Shabani Khan Uzbek, and of course the Ottoman Turks. And Babur was the ruler of Fargana. So we look at it. He was the ruler of Fargana in Central Asia. He had succeeded his father at Farghana. Sheikh Mirza was his father's name, and Babur's ambition was to conquer Samarkand. And till the Safavid king, Shah Ismail, was alive, he had the support of the king of Persia. But once Shah Ismail died, Babur lost that support. And twice he conquered Samarkand. Both the times he lost it to Shabani Khan Uzbek, who also conquered Farghana. So Babur became a king without a kingdom. Out of desperation, he conquered Kabul. Kabul was ruled by his uncle, so he attacked Kabul, conquered Kabul, and since he was a descendant of Timur from his father's side, and Timur had conquered a few parts of northwest India, Kabul, Kandahar, Herat, etc. When Timur had plundered India in 1398-99, Babur felt that he had a right over some parts of the Punjab. So he made four exploratory raids on the outskirts of India because he felt that Shaibani Khan Uzbek might also take away Kabul from him, and he would again have to face the same situation. He would become a king without a kingdom. And then, of course, he conquered a few forts on the borders of India, and he was contemplating an attack on for the fifth time when three people invited Babur separately to attack Delhi. These are, of course, the governor of Punjab, Daulat Khan Lodi, then Alam Khan Lodi, the uncle of Ibrahim, and Rana Sanga or Rana Sangram Singh, the most powerful ruler of North India, the ruler of Mewar. So these three people separately invited Babur, and then Babur came. And then happened the first battle of Panipat, April the 21st, 1526. We have seen this. So these are the three people who invited Babur: Daulat Khan Lodi, Alam Khan Lodi, and Rana Sangram Singh, or Rana Sanga of Mewar. Then happened the first battle of Panipat on 21st of April, 1526. Though Babur's army numbered just 12,000 cavalry against Ibrahim Lodi's army of 1 lakh, it was Babur who won the day because of superior tactics and generalship, leadership, which he displayed on the battlefield. Ottoman Rumi and Tulguma. These are the two techniques he used. And for the first time on the soil of North India, Babur used gunpowder to devastating effect. And Rana Sangram, Ibrahim Lodi was killed on the battlefield, and it was a thrilling victory scored by Babur. And thus, Babur established the Mughal Empire. So the only credit to um, Ibrahim Lodi is that he was the only Delhi Sultan to die on the battlefield, right? And Babur gave the credit to of his victory to his cavalry. So he established the Mughal Empire, stayed back in India. He never went back to Kabul. And in the next few years, he had to fight 3 more wars. We have the Battle of Kanua, which Babur fought against Rana Sangram Singh or Rana Sanga. This was a much more serious battle when compared to the first Battle of Panipat. Babur had to fight an army of 2 lakh Rajputs. His army strength had increased to 40,000. So 40,000 versus 2 lakh Rajputs. And in this Battle of Kanua, Babur took the title of Ghazi or Holy Warrior and called this war as jihad. So in this Battle of Kanua, he called this battle as jihad and took the title of Ghazi or Holy Warrior. Jihad means holy war and Ghazi means holy warrior. I have told you this. So jihad is holy war and Ghazi was holy warrior. And Babur was able to defeat Rana Sangram Singh. But of course, Rana Sangram Singh died because of battle wounds after some time. Then we have the Battle of Chanderi. Chanderi in Madhya Pradesh, he defeated Medini Rai, the king of Chanderi, and the Battle of Ghagra, when he defeated the combined armies of Bihar and Bengal. So in 4 years, he fought 4 serious battles, and he had become the master of Hindustan. That is from Himalayas in the north to Vindhyas, in the central portion of India. Everything was his. So he had become the master of Hindustan. And this was an accident. I told you his only ambition was to conquer a few parts of Punjab, which he felt he had a right over, since those parts of the Punjab belonged to his descendant Timur. But destiny had other plans for Babur. I told you what happened. His son Humayun was on his deathbed, young person in his in his 20s, early 20s, and Babur is supposed to pray to his God Allah and ask for an exchange of life. And his prayers seem to have been answered. There was an exchange of life, literally, where Babur died and then Humayun went on to live. But before he died, he took a promise from his son Humayun that he will treat his stepbrothers as his own brothers and he will divide the empire established by him equally amongst his stepbrothers. So Humayun agreed to fulfill that promise which he gave to his father. So we'll come to that. And of course, Babur is known for his autobiography, the Tuzuki Baburi or Babarnama, which he writes in Turkish language. And for this, he has been called the Prince amongst autobiographers. Prince amongst autobiographers. I stopped here last class. I ran out of time. I'm yet to complete Babur. Can I continue, all of you? Bimre comes and no, there's no Zapata, Zapti comes as king share, king share of 20%. That's called comes, and Ganima is the soldier's share, right? Sudhanshu, comes is king share, 1/5, 20% to be given to the king out of the total war booty or total loot, and the rest Ganima is a soldier's share, 4/5 or 80%, right? I have not used any word called zakata, Bhimre. I'm not very clear about it. Comes and Ghanim I have spoken about. Zakata, I've never said anything called zakata. Zakata, I have never used this word called zakata. Zakat, oh my God, okay. Bhimre, zakat, yeah, okay. Um, um, Zakat is the tax payable by rich Muslims, 2.5% of their property. So Muslims are expected to pay in alms to the poor and the needy 2.5% of their property. That is called zakat. Tax payable by rich Muslims or other Muslims. That is a rule in Islam. It encourages the people who can afford to give away 2.5% of their property in alms. That's called zakat. Okay, 2.5%. Okay, Bimre, are you clear? Right. So, can I continue here? Now, let's talk about Babur's autobiography. Let me talk to you about Babur's autobiography, the Tuzuki Baburi or Babarnama. The Babarnama, also called Tuzuki Baburi. Tuzuki Baburi. Okay. So Babarnama, uh, Bhimre comes is king share. I've already told you, king share of the total war booty comes is the king share, 1/5 or 20% to be given away to the king. And zakat is tax payable by rich Muslims. Okay, we'll come back here. So it's Babarnama or Tuzuki Baburi. This was the autobiography written by Babur in Turkish language. And he's called the king, the prince amongst autobiographers for this reason. He's called the prince amongst autobiographers. Because he uses very simple language. He had no knowledge of history writing, but then whatever he wrote it in a very clear manner, and it is easily understood by people who read the Tuzuki Baburi or Babarnama. Even before he came to India, I told you last class, he collected information about India from the Sufi saints as well as from traders and merchants who used to travel across the border. So even before he came to India, he had collected enough information about India. So let us talk about in brief about his Babarnama. What does it contain? So it is divided into three parts. The Babarnama or Tuzuki Baburi. It is divided into three parts. In the first part, Babur talks about Fargana. So he was the ruler of Fargana. So in the first part, he talks about Fargana and its administration. In the second part, he talks about Kabul. He talks about Kabul in the second part. And in the third part, he talks about India. Okay? He talks about India. And this is the most important part for, as far as we are concerned, most important for us. Now, this book, the Babarnama, originally written in Turkish language, was translated into Persian. It was translated into Persian by Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan. So it was translated into Persian by Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan. The Khans of the Khan among Khans, Khani Khanan. So this man, Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan, was the adopted son of Akbar. Akbar married Bairam Khan's wife. Bairam Khan was his, regent or representative. I'll come to Akbar in some time. So the son of Bairam Khan was this Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan, and Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan he was still a child, and Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan's mother was married by Akbar after the death of Bairam Khan. And Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan rose to become one of the great generals under Akbar. So this Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan, son of Bairam Khan, was the one who wrote the Persian version of Tuzuki Baburi or Babarnama. Right? He was the one who wrote it in Persian language, translated into Persian language. And of course, it was translated to English by Mrs. Henry Beveridge. Mrs. Henry Beveridge translated the Babarnama into English language. Now, what does Babur talk about it? In his Babarnama, what does it tell us? He says when he came to India, there were 7 rulers in India. He says there were 7 rulers ruling India, 7 powerful rulers ruling India. And out of these 7 rulers, 5 were Muslims and 2 were Kafirs, that is Hindus. So he gives the names of these 7 rulers. So the first 5 were Muslims, he says. Out of the 7, 5 were Muslims. Who are the Muslim rulers? Of course, Ibrahim Lodi, the king of Delhi. So he names him Ibrahim Lodi, the king of Delhi. And number 2, he talks about the Muhammad Shah Bahamani, the Bahamani ruler, Muhammad Shah Bahamani. Number 3, the Sultan of Gujarat, Muzaffar Shah II. Muzaffar Shah II of Gujarat. Number 4, he talks about Muhammad Khalji II of Malwa. Muhammad Khalji II of Malwa. And the Sultan of Bengal, Nusrat Shah. ruler of Bengal, Nusrat Shah. Nusrat Shah, the king of Bengal. So Ibrahim Lodi of Delhi, Muhammad Shah Bahamani, the Bahamani Sultan who ruled from Gulbarga. Okay, later the capital was shifted to Bidar, of course. So then Muzaffar Shah the second of Gujarat, Muhammad Khalji the second of Malwa, and Nusrat Shah of Bengal. Then he names two Kafirs, that is Hindu rulers. So he calls them as Kafirs or Hindu rulers. Who are the two Kafirs or Hindu rulers? Number one, Rana Sanga of Mewar. Rana Sanga of Mewar. And number two, Krishnadevaraya of Vijayanagara. Sri Krishnadevaraya. Sri Krishnadevaraya of Vijayanagara. So these are the seven rulers he mentions about in his autobiography. So five were Muslims and two were Hindus. Are you there with me, all of you? Yeah, son of Bairam Khan. Sudhanshu, yes, he was the son of Bairam Khan. Abdul Rahim Khani Khanan, son of Bairam Khan. Yeah. Now, then Babur tells us, out of these seven rulers, the most powerful and a man of justice was Sri Krishnadevaraya. He calls Krishnadevaraya of Vijayanagara the most powerful ruler in India at that point in time, amongst these seven rulers. And he says that he was also a man of justice. Then Babur mentions about the geography of this country. Are you there with me, all of you? Are you able to hear me? It is just to kindle your interest and make the topic interesting also at the same time and give you a lot of information. Now look here, what does he tell us about India? He talks about the geography of India. I'm reading this. You see, I'm reading this. So he talks about the rich flora and fauna of India. He says India is full of men and produce. It is full of men and produce. It is covered by water from the three sides. Hindustan is a wonderful and different world. Its mountains, rivers, jungles, deserts, towns, cultivated lands, animals, plants, people and their tongues, that is the language they speak. Its rains and winds are all different. Air in the rains is very pleasant, he says. Then his Babar says, mango is the best fruit of India. He had never eaten a mango till he came to India. So he says mango is the best fruit of India. An elephant is the best animal. He had never seen an elephant until in the first battle of Panipat. So he calls mango as the best fruit of India and elephant has the best animal. Then he says people of low origin, that is poor people, go about naked wearing a langota. So you see langot, is worn by wrestlers. Even poor people used to wear langot during those days. Only men wear langot, where the front is covered and literally the back is exposed. So people of low origin go about naked wearing a langota, he says. So he had never seen anything like a decency cloth. Langota is called a decency cloth. So he had never seen anything like that until he came to India. Right. Then he criticizes India. He says Hindustan is a country of few charms. People have no good looks. So this is according to Babur's, analysis. He says Hindustan is a country of few charms. People have no good looks, no social intercourse, do not visit or receive visit. So they don't go to each other's houses. If somebody comes to your neighbor, comes to your house, they are very suspicious as to why the neighbor has come to your house. So there's no social intercourse, do not visit or receive visit. There are no good horses, grapes, dogs, no good food in the bazaars, no colleges, no running water in their gardens and palaces. The towns are dirty and not planned properly. These are the observations made by Babur about India. And he also condemned himself for many of the faults in his personality. Right? So he doesn't just praise India. Wherever it has to be criticized, he criticizes India. At the same time, he criticizes his own personality as such. So this is about Babur and his autobiography in brief. Okay, so this is what Babur says. Are you there with me? So this is about Babur and his autobiography. And Babur, I told you, he asked for an exchange of life. Miraculously, his son Humayun began to recover, and Babur died. But before he died, he took a promise from his son Humayun, his eldest son, that he will treat his stepbrothers. So Babur had totally four sons: Humayun, Kamran, Ashkari, Hindal. I'll come to that in some time. So he took a promise from Humayun that he will treat his stepbrothers as his own brothers, and he will divide the empire equally amongst his stepbrothers. And having taken the promise from Humayun, Babur died. And according to his wish, he was initially buried at Kabul, but his wish was that he should be buried in Kabul. So initially he was buried in Agra, right? When he died, he was buried initially at Agra and later in the terrace of a garden, which doesn't have a roof on top of it. So he was later reburied at Kabul. And we have Babur's daughter, Gulbadan Begum. She wrote the Humayun Nama. Humayun Nama is the biography of Humayun, written by Humayun's sister, Gulbadan Begum. So it is the biography of Humayun. So Gulbadan Begum, Humayun's sister, wrote a biography for her brother called Humayun Nama. So this is about Babur. Clear? Can I move on? So I've discussed about Mughals last class. I gave an introduction and also to a large extent I had covered Babur. So today I have finished Babur. Go through Babur and then we come to the next emperor, Humayun. Can we start Humayun, all of you? Humayun. Hello, can you please raise your hands? Am I audible and visible? Yes, Ankush, what is the doubt you have? Yeah, Bhimare, the tomb was later built. Yeah, it was initially buried. He was initially buried in Kabul and later reburied. Initially buried in Agra and later reburied in Kabul. Yes, yeah, he was later reburied in Kabul in the terrace of a garden. And according to his wish, you can see here there is no roof surmounting his tomb. There is no roof. It is open to the sky. Okay, so let us come to Humayun. Now, Humayun means fortunate. So his real name was Mirza Nasruddin Mahmud, Mirza Nasruddin Muhammad, right? That was his real name. And Humayun means fortunate. Humayun was his title, fortunate. But please understand, his life was full of unfortunate circumstances, all his own making, all his own doing. Now, Humayun, if you look at the picture in front of your screen, he ruled in two installments. He ruled in two installments. He succeeded his father. He ruled for 10 years, 1530 to 40. 1530 to 40. And then between 1540 and 1555, there was no Mughal Empire. For 15 years, there was no Mughal Empire. In other words, Humayun lost everything which his father had so diligently, with so much of difficulty, had established. So he lost everything which his father had established, and there was no Mughal Empire for 15 years. What happened? I'll tell you. Now let us come to know. Now Humayun, true to the promise given to his father, divided the empire amongst his stepbrothers equally. So Humayun was the eldest son. Humayun. Then you have Kamran. He had three stepbrothers: Kamran, Askari, and Hindal. And Hindal. So these are the three stepbrothers of Humayun. So Kamran was given Kabul and Kandahar. Kamran was made the king of Kabul and Kandahar, which are both now in Afghanistan. So he was made the ruler of Kabul and Kandahar. Askari was given the Sambhal area, Sambhal near Delhi. Sambhal near Delhi. And Hindal was given the Alwar region. So he was given the Alwar region. Now, Humayun is the person, so he was true to the promise he had given his father. He divided the empire which his father had built equally amongst his stepbrothers. Now, Humayun, please understand, was a very capable man. He was a very, very capable man, but then he had some personality problems. So, what are the personality defects he had? And that costed his life. Personality defects, or because of his personality. What type of a person was he? He was very slow in taking decisions. Slow in taking decisions. So he will procrastinate. Okay, so slow in taking decisions, very, very slow. And once he took a decision, after a long time, after he took a decision, he was still slow in implementing the decision. So slow in implementing. Once he arrived at a decision, he would be very slow in implementing the decision. Very slow in battle. He was very slow in battle. So you need to be very decisive in battle. When in a battlefield, you have to take quick decisions. Read the situation and accordingly take quick decisions. He was very slow in battle. Right? Then he was a very bad judge of men. Very, very bad judge of men. He did not know whom to trust and whom not to trust. And believe me, if you trust the wrong person, that person can really ruin ruin. In case he's a negative-minded person, then he can ruin another person's life. So he was a bad judge of men. He did not know whom to trust or not to trust. And apart from this, he was addicted to wine, women, and opium. He had very strong addicted to wine, women, and opium. See, all the Mughal emperors, if you look at all the Mughal emperors from Babur to Aurangzeb, almost all the Mughal emperors except Aurangzeb, he was not addicted to wine, women, and opium. Apart from Aurangzeb, all the other Mughal emperors were pretty addicted to wine, women, and opium. But then he had extra addiction, this Humayun. He loved them, wine, women, opium. And that costed him uh, the empire of Hindustan, what his father had established with so much of difficulty. Now, let's talk about Humayun here. So Humayun, uh, he had two enemies. He had to face two challenges from two quarters. One was internal and the other was external. Internal is his own stepbrothers, Kamran, Askari, Hindal. Though he divided the empire amongst his stepbrothers, they were ungrateful fellows, all the three of them. They never cared for Humayun. How it happened, I'll come to that in some time. And then he had two external enemies, Bahadur Shah of Gujarat and Sher Khan of Bihar, who later also became the ruler of Bengal. So we have two contemporary rulers, Bahadur Shah of Gujarat, the king of Gujarat, and Sher Shah Sur or Sher Khan, who later became the ruler of Bihar and Bengal. Now, I'll talk about Sher Khan later or Sher Shah later. We have a separate topic called Suri dynasty. So once I finish with the Mughals and then Marathas, I'll come to Suri dynasty before I come to Vijayanagara. That time I'll discuss in detail about Sher Khan, who later became Sher Shah, and established a Suri dynasty, the second Afghan dynasty to rule Delhi. The first were the Lodhis. Now, we have the king of Bihar, Muhammad Lodi of Bihar. So Humayun defeated this king of Bihar, Muhammad Lodi of Bihar, a place called Daura. This was in 1530. And he also laid siege to the fort of Chunar. Chunar, right? You have a fort called Chunar in UP. So he laid siege to the fort of Chunar, which was nominally under the control of Sher Khan. Sher Shah or Sher Khan was in charge of this fort. And Sher Khan was working under the king of Bihar, Muhammad Lodi. So he defeated the king of Bihar and then he besieged the fort of Chunar. He surrounded the fort of Chunar. But then please understand, this Sher Khan knew about the personality problems of Humayun, the addictions of Humayun, that is wine, women, opium. So before running away from Chunar, understand this is very interesting. Before running away from Chunar, Chunar was a fort under the control of Sher Khan, who also later became Sher Shah. So he was holding that fort called Chunar, and Humayun with his army was attacking Chunar. So what Sher Khan did is he ran away from the fort. He decamped from the fort. But before leaving the fort of Chunar, he left these three things in plenty: wine, women, opium, knowing the addictions of Humayun. So Humayun attacked Chunar and he entered Chunar unopposed because the enemy had already run away. Sher Khan had already run away with his army. When he enters Chunar, he sees these three things in plenty. That is wine, women, opium. He saw wine, women, opium in left plenty in that fort of Chunar. And Sher Khan had used this ploy to buy some time, having known the weakness of Humayun. So having entered Chunar and occupied Chunar, he was very, very happy because he saw these three things in plenty available there. He renamed Chunar as Jannatabad. Humayun, look at this. Humayun calls Chunar as Jannatabad. Jannat means paradise. So he renamed Chunar as Jannatabad and he spent 6 months there in the fort of Chunar or Jannatabad, enjoying these three things: wine, women, opium. And in those 6 months' time, Sher Khan regrouped. He reorganized his army, strengthened his army, and in two decisive battles, he fought against Humayun and defeated Humayun. We have in the year 1539 the Battle of Chausa Buxar, the Battle of Chausa in 1539. So you have Sher Khan challenging Humayun in this Battle of Chausa, and Humayun was losing in this battle, and he was literally caught between the devil in the deep sea. In front was Sher Shah's army, and behind was the raging waters of the Ganges. The river Ganga was in spate; it was in floods. If he goes front, he'll be killed by the soldiers of Sher Shah. And if he jumps into the water, Ganga, he'll be carried away by the current. But then he took a chance. He had no choice. He jumped into the Ganga and he was carried away for quite some distance. But somehow a water carrier or a shakka pulled him out of the water. Right? So he escaped. That's this way. He lived to live another day. Now he lost in the Battle of Chausa in 1539. Then he asked his stepbrothers, Kamran, Askari, Hindal, for help. That is the time he asked for help from them. But they turned their back. They did not give any help to Humayun. And with great difficulty, he reorganized another army. And then again challenged Sher Khan, who had taken the title of Sher Shah. So here we have the Battle of Bilgram or Kanauj. The Battle of Bilgram or Kanauj in 1540. Again, Humayun was defeated, and Sher Khan occupied Delhi and took the title of Sher Shah and established a Suri dynasty. So, in two battles, 1539, Battle of Chausa, 1540, Battle of Kanauj or Bilgram, Humayun had lost everything. So, he himself has to be blamed for whatever happened to him because of his mistakes, because of his procrastination, because of his personality defects, because of not taking the right decision at the right time. At the same time, not judging his stepbrothers properly, and taking things lightly. He had defeated earlier. You see, he had defeated Bahadur Shah of Gujarat. He had also defeated Sher Khan, but he did not kill them, and that was a mistake he made. So that mistake proved very, very costly for Humayun, and ultimately he lost everything. And then you see 1539 Battle of Chausa. Remember these battles. Humayun was defeated. Battle of Bilgram or Kanauj. Again, Humayun was defeated by Sher Khan, who took the title of Sher Shah and occupied Delhi. So Humayun became a king without a kingdom. He was a king without a kingdom now. And he had lost everything which his father had established. And his wife, Hamida Banu Begum, was pregnant. Hamida Banu Begum was pregnant, and the time for delivery was near. He did not know whom to trust and whom not to trust. So, looking at the condition of his wife, who was pregnant, he goes to a Rajput king called Rana Prasad Singh Virasal of Amarkot or Umerkot. Umerkot is in present-day Sindh in Pakistan. So there was a small kingdom in the region of Sindh in Pakistan, present-day Pakistan. The name was Umarkot or Umerkot, or Amarkot. So this kingdom was ruled by a Rajput king. His name was Rana Prasad Singh Virasal. Rana Prasad Singh Virasal. So Humayun goes to this kingdom before this king and he pleads for asylum. And looking at the condition of his wife, this Rajput king had mercy upon Humayun and his wife, and he gave asylum to Humayun. And in that palace of Raja Prasad Singh Virasal of Amarkot, in 1542 was born Akbar. Akbar was born in that palace of Umarkot. The king of Umarkot, Rana Prasad Singh Virasal. Now, once Sher Shah came to know that this Rajput king, Prasad Singh Virasal, had given asylum to Humayun in his kingdom, he sent warnings to him. He sent a warning that his kingdom will be attacked and conquered if he continues to give protection or asylum to Humayun. So the Raja, Prasad Singh Virasal, told Humayun, I am helpless. I cannot give you protection anymore. Therefore, you get out of my kingdom. So, and Humayun also understood that time was up. So he requested the Raja, he asked him, can I leave my wife and child behind, my baby Akbar behind? So Akbar was born there. So he asked whether he can leave his queen, his wife, Hamida Banu Begum, and baby Akbar behind. So the Rajput king was considerate enough, was humane enough to allow Humayun's family to stay back in the palace. He said, "I will act as the guardian. You go away from my kingdom." And Humayun now goes away to Persia. He comes away to Persia, Iran, and we have the king of Shah Ismail, Shah Tamas, who was the king of Iran. So remember, Babur had used to get the protection and support of Shah Ismail of Iran. Now Shah Ismail's son, Shah Tamas, was the ruler of Iran or Persia. So Humayun goes and tells the Shah of Persia, the king of Persia, "Your father used to help my father. Now, with having lost everything, I have come to you. You give me help, and I one day or the other I'll repay help." So this is what Humayun is supposed to have requested the Shah of Persia, Shah Tamas. The king of Persia, Shah Tamas, put some conditions on Humayun. He told him he will help him, provided some conditions are fulfilled. What are the conditions? First of all, these are the conditions put by the Shah of Iran, Shah Tamas. Number one, he said you should convert yourself to Shia sect. So the Mughals were Sunnis. So he said you should convert yourself to Shia sect. That is number one. Number two, you should marry my sister. So you have to marry my sister. So the Shah of Persia had a sister. He wanted Humayun to marry his sister. And third is, he said, you hand over Kandahar, you conquer Kandahar from Kamran, your stepbrother, and hand over Kandahar to me. So these are the three conditions put by the king of Iran. And Humayun had no choice. He had lost everything. And then he did agree to these three conditions. So he converted himself to Shia sect. He married the Shah's sister. And then he promised to give back Kandahar after reconquering Kandahar from Kamran, his stepbrother. And that's the time when the Shah of Iran gave him an army of 10,000 cavalry. 10,000 cavalry, an army of 10,000 horsemen, troopers was given by the Shah of Persia to Humayun. And please understand, almost 15 years had lapsed by all this time, by all this development, 15 years had lapsed almost. So what did Humayun do? His main goal and ambition now was to reconquer Delhi. And he also wanted to teach a lesson to his stepbrothers. So he attacked Kamran. He defeated Kamran, reconquered Kabul and Kandahar from him. But he did not give back Kandahar to the Shah of Persia. In fact, he blinded Kamran and ordered Kamran to go to Makkah for pilgrimage, to the Hajj pilgrimage. Then Askari was also defeated, and then he was also blinded and asked to go to Makkah on pilgrimage. And Hindal already had been killed by Kamran. So he defeated both his brothers, and then he asked them to go to Makkah. And 15 years had lapsed. Now, what had happened in India? What had happened to Sher Shah Sur? Sher Shah had died in an accident. You see, in 1540, he had defeated Humayun in the Battle of Bilgram, and he had thrown him out of India. And he ruled only for 5 years, 1540 to 45. Only 5 years Sher Shah ruled. Sher Shah had ruled only for 5 years. He had died in an accident. What happened, how this accident happened, I'll tell you later. So Sher Shah had died in an accident, and we have the grandson of Sher Shah by name Sikandar Shah Sur. Sikandar Shah Sur was ruling Delhi. Sikandar Shah Sur. After 15 years, Humayun comes back in the Battle of Sirhind. We have the Battle of Sirhind, right? So in the Battle of Sirhind, he defeats Sikandar Shah Sur in the Battle of Sirhind. So this battle happened in 1555, Battle of Sirhind. So he defeated and killed Sikandar Shah Sur and reconquered Delhi and re-established the Mughal Empire. Did you understand? You see here, so 1540 to 1555. Totally, for 15 years, there was no Mughal Empire. 1540 to 1555. This is the period of the Sur dynasty. Suri dynasty was ruling Delhi. 1540 to 1555. And in the Battle of Sirhind, Humayun comes back, defeats and kills Sikandar Shah Sur. And reconquers Delhi and re-establishes the Mughal Empire. But within 8 months after reconquering Delhi and re-establishing the Mughal Empire, Humayun was very much interested in studies. He had a lot of books. He had a library also, and he had his personal library in this building called Sher Mandal. So we have this building called Sher Mandal on your screen. You can see this building. This is in the region of Purana Kila, Delhi, in the area of Purana Kila, Delhi, a building called Sher Mandal. So he had finished his studies, and with a lamp in his hand, he was coming down the steps of his library, and then he tripped and fell down, and this fall had a fatal effect on him. He died. So there was a fatal fall and he died. So this is how he died, while coming down the steps of his library. So he died in 1556 while coming down the steps of his library, Sher Mandal, Purana Kila, Delhi. So when he died, what happened? Understand this. I'll use another page here. So 1556, we have the death of Humayun. Humayun died. Humayun suddenly died at Delhi. And where was Akbar, you might ask? Akbar was 13 years, 4 months old. So Akbar was 13 years, 4 months old, and Akbar had been posted as the governor of Punjab. Humayun had posted him as the governor of Punjab. And to take care of young Akbar, a trusted officer called Bairam Khan had been deputed. Bairam Khan was a trusted officer under Humayun. Akbar was still 13 years, 4 months old, and he had been appointed as the governor of Punjab. And to take care of young Akbar, Bairam Khan, a trusted officer, had been posted there. Once the news reached Bairam Khan that Humayun suddenly died at Delhi, what did Bairam Khan do? He crowned Akbar at a place called Kalanaur. At a place called Kalanaur in the Punjab, Bairam Khan crowned Akbar. So Akbar was crowned here as the next emperor. And taking the army, whatever army was there in the Punjab, Bairam Khan and Akbar began to march towards Delhi. They began to march towards Delhi. By the time they reached Delhi, again Delhi had been conquered by the king of Bihar. Understand this? The death of Humayun had leaked out. The death of Humayun had leaked out, and we have the king of Bihar by name Muhammad Adil Shah Sur. Just hold on. So we have the king of Bihar by name Muhammad Adil Shah Sur. He belonged to the Suri dynasty. So this Muhammad Adil Shah Sur, the king of Bihar, had a Hindu commander. He had a commander under him called Hemu, a veteran of 100 battles. Hemu was a veteran of 100 battles. He had never lost in any of those 100 battles. So the king of Bihar, Muhammad Adil Shah Sur, ordered his commander Hemu to attack and conquer Delhi. And he said that Humayun has died. The news is confirmed. Humayun has died. And therefore, this is the right opportunity to conquer Delhi. So Hemu took his army and from Bihar attacked Delhi and conquered Delhi. So by the time Bairam Khan and Akbar reached Delhi, Delhi again had gone away from the hands of the Mughals. And then happened the second battle of Panipat. The second battle of Panipat. This was in the year 1556. 1556. Are you there with me, all of you? Till here, are you clear? Are you there with me? Can you raise your hands? Have you understood till here whatever I've told you? Okay, great. So this is the second battle of Panipat, and I don't know how many of you have seen this movie. Many years back, there was a movie called Jodha Akbar. Jodha Akbar movie, right? Even if you have not seen it, doesn't matter. Jodha Akbar. So there was a movie called Jodha Akbar where Akbar, the role of Akbar has been played by Hrithik Roshan, and Jodha's role has been played by Aishwarya Rai. So this movie, and if you've seen this movie starts with a battle scene. This movie starts with a war scene, and this is the second battle of Panipat. Akbar was still a young boy, 13 years, 4 months. So therefore, Bairam Khan had to fight. It's not Akbar. So it was Bairam Khan who fought on behalf of Akbar against Hemu. So this is the second battle of Panipat. Bairam Khan who fought on behalf of Akbar against Hemu. And in this battle, destiny had other plans. This is what is called destiny. I'm a firm believer in destiny. Anyway, some of you might have different opinion regarding that, but then we'll come back here. When this battle began, it was Hemu who was winning. It was Hemu who was winning, and he was a veteran of 100 battles. He had never lost 100 battles. So it was a foregone conclusion that it was Hemu who is going to win this battle. Right? So when the battle began, it was Hemu who was winning this battle, and the Mughals were running helter-skelter. But then what happened is Hemu was sitting on his elephant, a caparisoned elephant, decorated elephant. He was the commander of the army of Bihar. So here, what happened is a stray arrow, some stray arrow, hundreds and thousands of arrows will be flying, in opposite directions in a war. And one stray arrow came and hit his eye, one of his eyes. So he was wearing his helmet, he was wearing his body armor, but then somehow it made its way and hit his eye, one of his eyes, and he was in a lot of pain, confusion. So in that pain and confusion, Hemu ordered his Mahot, the elephant driver, to take the elephant away from the battlefield. This was a mistake he made because the Mahot took the elephant away, Hemu's elephant away from the battlefield. And Hemu's soldiers mistook it for Hemu having got killed in the battlefield. They thought Hemu died. Hemu has died on the battlefield. That's why his elephant is being led away from the battlefield. And they began to run away. Hemu's soldiers began to run away. And the Mughals, who were till now losing, suddenly found themselves surprised, at the same time victorious. Because they began to wonder why Hemu's soldiers are running away when they were winning the battle. And anyway, Hemu was caught and beheaded by Bairam Khan. And Bairam Khan thus conquered Delhi and re-established the Mughal Empire. So this is the second battle of Panipat, which happened in 1556, exactly 30 years after the first battle of Panipat. First battle of Panipat in 1526. Second battle of Panipat, 1556, when Bairam Khan fought against Hemu. Right? And of course, we'll come to Akbar in some time. Just hold on. So Humayun died while coming down the steps of his library. 8 years later, after his death, 8 years later, we have Akbar's mother, Humayun's favorite queen, Hamida Banu Begum, who built a tomb for her husband, Humayun. This is called Humayun's tomb. This is Humayun's tomb. Just hold on. You can see here, this is the tomb of Humayun. This is Humayun's tomb at Delhi. The beginning of Mughal architecture is from here. So Mughal architecture begins from here. Begins from Humayun's tomb. It was built by Hamida Banu Begum. And this has been called the prototype of the Taj Mahal. It is called prototype of the Taj Mahal. Many of the design elements have been copied. Many of the design elements have been copied from in the Taj have been copied from Humayun's tomb. As you can see, this is made of red sandstone. So the predominant material is red sandstone. But the dome is marble. The dome is marble. And this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was built by architects from Central Asia. So the architects from Central Asia came and built this particular tomb. It is at Delhi, and this is called the prototype of the Taj Mahal, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Right? It's a very beautiful building, as you can see here, made of red sandstone, and of course you have marble. Marble has been used also. Black and white marble has been used to embellish or beautify this particular monument. So we have Humayun also founding the city of Deenpana, the sixth city of Delhi. So he founded the city of Deenpana. Deenpana is the sixth city of Delhi he built, now called Shergarh. So it's called Shergarh. And this is Babur's tomb, Humayun's favorite barber. He had a favorite barber. His tomb is also there in the Humayun's complex, Humayun tomb complex. That's why I mentioned here Babur's tomb, Humayun's favorite barber. His tomb is also there in the Humayun tomb complex. And this is Deenpana, also called Shergarh. So he built other mosques like Jamali Mosque, Mosque of Isa Khan. This is at Delhi. Then the tabla, the drum of justice. So he had a huge drum with sticks very near to his palace. And somebody, if he or she felt aggrieved that injustice had been done to that person, they can come and play that drum. It was a huge drum which would make a lot of sound or noise. And then the emperor himself would come to the palace balcony and he will address that aggrieved person, and he'll hear him out, and then he will inquire, and then accordingly give justice as soon as possible. So this was the drum of justice which he got installed outside his palace. Now, when Humayun was in Persia, understand this, when he was in Persia as an exile, he met two painters, Khwaja Abd al Samad and Mir Sayyid Ali Tabrizi. So please remember these names: Khwaja Abd al Samad, Khwaja Abd al Samad, and Mir Sayyid Ali Tabrizi. He was very much fascinated with their paintings. So he met them in Persia, in Iran, and then he told them that if destiny wills it, and he re-establishes the Mughal Empire and reconquers Delhi, then he is invited to his court, because he said that he'll make them his court painters. And many years later, after 15 years, you see, destiny had its own role to play. Humayun had reconquered Delhi, re-established the Mughal Empire, and these two painters came to his court, and he appointed them as his court painters. And after that, you have their students, the students of Khwaja Abdul Samad and Mir Sayyid Ali Tabrizi, who began to come to India, and they were also employed in the Mughal court. So Humayun died, and then, of course, Akbar continued to employ these two painters in his atelier or karkhana. And we have the Persian school of painting influencing the Mughal school of painting. When I do painting topic as part of art and culture, we will talk about it. So these two master painters from Persia were employed by Humayun, and they continued to work under Akbar also, right? So this is about Humayun. Are you there with me? Yeah. Yes. You see, you have Charbagh style of gardens. Running water is also there, but there's no minar. There are no minarets on the four corners. Many of the design elements have been copied from in the Taj have been copied from the Humayun's tomb. Okay, so this is about Humayun. So remember about Humayun. Then we come to the greatest of the Mughal emperors, Akbar. Drum of justice is to give justice. Like, Iltutmish had a chain, no, isn't it? A bell hanged with a chain near his palace. Similarly, we have Akbar having a drum of justice. You come and play the drum, and then the emperor will come. He'll hear the drum. That means some aggrieved person is calling for his attention, and then he'll appear in the balcony, inquire about the injustice done to that person, and accordingly he will give punishment or justice accordingly. Right. So this is about Humayun. Then we come to the third emperor, Akbar. So what do you know about Akbar? So this is the most important character in the chapter called Mughal Empire. Most important personality. We have to discuss about Akbar in detail. The conquest of Akbar, of course. I'll be talking about the conquest of Akbar. So we'll start from there. Conquest of Akbar. Then we will talk about, of course, his religious policy, the religious policy of Akbar. Then we'll talk about his revenue reforms. Then administrative reforms. What are the various administrative reforms introduced by Akbar? So Akbar is the one who laid the foundation of the Mughal administrative superstructure. We'll talk about it. So what are the various administrative innovations introduced by him? Revenue reforms, religious policy. Then, of course, Mansabdari system as part of his administrative reforms. We'll sort of talk about the so-called Mansabdari system. Mansabdari system, right? Okay. So Sudhanshu says abolish jizya. Okay, Sudhanshu, he was the greatest of the Mughals. Anything else? Anything else you can recollect or remember about Akbar? Okay, doesn't matter. We'll come back here. So, okay, thank you, Sudhanshu. You like the painting of Akbar? Rana Singh, not Singh, Rana Singh, Rana Sang, not Rana, Rana Pratap. So Aditya, Rana Pratap. Akbar love with Jodhpur Bhai, not Jodhpur Bhai, Baba. My God, this is Jodhabai, according to some one theory, Jodhabai was never his queen. But according to some historians, they say that he not only married Harkabai but also married Jodhabai. Yeah, matrimonial alliance with Rajput and Rajput policies. Okay, we'll talk about it. Yogita. Okay, great. So you know quite a few things about Akbar. We'll talk about Akbar. So as you understand, Akbar, um, he was just 13 years, 4 months old when his father Humayun died, and Bairam Khan was his pratinidhi or regent. He acted as the regent or caretaker of Akbar, Bairam Khan, and Bairam Khan ran the administration for about 4 years. Understand this? So 1556, Humayun died. 1556 to 1560. These 4 years, we have the regency of Bairam Khan. Regency of Bairam Khan. So it was Bairam Khan who uh, ran the administration literally, so that he acted as a regent of Akbar. But this period is also sometimes called petticoat government. Understand this? It is also called petticoat government. Now, why is it called petticoat government? Petticoat government. You see, you have the wife, the mother of Akbar, Hamida Banu Begum, the female, no, the women of Akbar's family. They also ran the administration or took interest in administration, like Akbar's mother, Hamida Banu Begum. Hamida Banu Begum. So Akbar's mother. Then Akbar's foster mother, Maham Anaga. Maham Anaga. So she was Akbar's foster mother. Real mother is this Hamida Banu Begum, biological mother, real mother. Foster mother was Mahamanaga. And other women of Akbar's family, they also poked their nose into administration. That's why it's also called petticoat government. So 1556 to 1560, we have Bairam Khan acting as a regent. And please understand, Akbar began to rule from 1560. So he comes to power in 1560 and till his death in 1605. For 45 years, he ruled with an iron hand. For 45 years, he ruled with an iron hand. Akbar, who is the person who expanded the kingdom into an empire, he expanded the Mughal kingdom into an empire. We'll talk about it. Now, you see, Bairam Khan had taken care of Akbar. That was a very delicate period when Humayun died, and then Bairam Khan not only had to fight and reconquer Delhi, at the same time, he also had to uh, act as a regent for Akbar, and he did that job very, very beautifully. He was the trusted and loyal servant of Humayun, and but then what happened is, in course of time, Mahamanaga felt that Bairam Khan might become ambitious. So Bairam Khan might become ambitious. He was a person who was a military man. He had no intention to harm Akbar or snatch away the throne from him. But then she could not take any chances because we have seen when we studied the Delhi Sultanate chapter how ambitious generals have snatched away the throne after killing the reigning sultan. So here, as a foster mother of Akbar, she probably was right in thinking like that. She wanted to secure and safeguard Akbar's interest and also her own family's interest. So here, she advised when Akbar was about 17 years old. When Akbar was about 17 years old, she ordered Akbar to march from Agra to Delhi on a hunting expedition. So she told him, on a hunting expedition, you go from Agra to Delhi, and once you reach Delhi, you issue a farman. You issue a farman. Farman means royal proclamation. Farmans means royal proclamation asking Bairam Khan to proceed to Makkah for pilgrimage. So she said, you send Bairam Khan away on a pilgrimage to Makkah and ask him to, retire from government service. And having reached Delhi from Agra on the pretext of a hunting expedition, Akbar issued a farman ordering Bairam Khan to proceed to Makkah on a pilgrimage. So initially, Bairam Khan protested. He was surprised and shocked at the turn of events. But then he understood. So he initially protested, but then he understood that time was up. So he laid down his sword before Akbar's feet. Then he took his permission and went away to Gujarat to catch a ship bound to Mecca, bound for Mecca. So for pilgrimage, those days ships used to go from from Gujarat to Mecca for the annual Hajj pilgrimage. But unfortunately, at Gujarat, Bairam Khan was assassinated. He was killed by some Afghan. So Bairam Khan was assassinated at Gujarat by some Afghan who probably had some grouse against Bairam Khan. So Bairam Khan's widow, young widow, was married by Akbar. Bairam Khan had a son by name Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan. I told you already, Abdur Rahim Khani Khanan. So this was Bairam Khan's son, and Bairam Khan's son later became one of the great generals under Akbar. So, and Bairam Khan's widow was married by Akbar. Right. So this was the end of Bairam Khan, and in 1560 Akbar comes to power. 1560 Akbar comes to power. Right. Okay. So let us talk about Akbar, his conquests. We'll talk about the conquest of Akbar first of all. Then I'll come to other aspects of his rule. So Akbar is important, particularly revenue reforms of Akbar. UPSC keeps on asking questions repeatedly from this particular area. Revenue reforms of Akbar. Then of course the Mansabdari system, that is very important, and administrative innovations, administrative foundation of the Mughal Empire laid by Akbar. So these are the areas to focus upon. We'll talk about the conquest of Akbar first of all. So on your screen, you can see Akbar 1556 to 1605. So he was born at Amarkot or Umerkot. Now it is in Sindh, Pakistan in 1542 at the palace of Raja Prasad Singh Virasal. And his real name was Abul Fath Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar. Abul Fath Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar. He was crowned at Kalanur. This is the place exactly where he was crowned at the age of 13 years. So Bairam Khan was his regent or Atalik, and Bairam Khan was the one who defeated Hemu in the second battle of Panipat. We have seen that. Now let us talk about the conquest of Akbar on your screen. So I'm directly going to the conquest of Akbar. We'll discuss about other aspects of his rule in some time. Now from 1560 to 1605, what are the various conquests of Akbar? Okay, can we continue? Yeah, Salima Begum was the young widow. You're right. Okay. Okay. Okay, Bhimare, let's not bring films into this into the class. Bairam Khan is like Katappa, he says. No, let's not get into the film part. We'll talk about serious history here, Bhimare. Right? Now we'll come back here. So let us look at the conquest of Akbar. The first conquest of Akbar was Malwa. Malwa in Madhya Pradesh. The ruler was Baz Bahadur, and Baz Bahadur was a musician king. He was interested in music. He was a famous musician king. Later, he became one of Mansabdars, one of the Mansabdars in Akbar's government, as such, one of the officers in Akbar's government. So Malwa. So he was the he was the king of Malwa, and Akbar appointed. Understand this. Adam Khan. Akbar appointed Adam Khan as the governor of Malwa. Once Malwa was conquered, Adam Khan. Who was Adam Khan? Adam Khan was the son of Maham Anaga. Adam Khan. So he was the son of Maham Anaga, the foster mother of Akbar. Now, understand this. Adam Khan began to commit all sorts of atrocities on the people of Malwa, particularly on the women of Malwa. He was not only, high-handed in his behavior as the governor of Malwa, but also he was committing atrocities against the women of Malwa. And this reached Akbar's ears. He was very, very angry with Adam Khan for this reason. Now we are told that when Adam Khan came to meet Akbar in Agra, so Akbar was in his harem in the Agra fort. In the Agra fort, he had his harem. Harem is a place where women are kept. Right? His chief queen will be with the king in the palace. And the harem is where women, hundreds and thousands of women would be kept. So Akbar was there in the Agra fort at that point in time in his harem. And then this Adam Khan barged into the harem. Nobody is allowed into the harem except the emperor. And this angered Akbar. And Akbar also had other grouse against him because he had asked him to furnish the accounts of Malwa, to give the accounts, the income and expenditure of Malwa. And Adam Khan refused to do that. So he saw that Adam Khan was defying Akbar, and Akbar did not like it. He ordered his soldiers, once he entered the harem, Akbar ordered his soldiers to arrest Adam Khan and then take Adam Khan to the top of the fort of Agra, to the ramparts of the fort, to the topmost portions of the Agra fort. Then he ordered his soldiers to drop Adam Khan like a ball on the ground. So they pushed him from the Agra fort and he fell down. And then he was struggling for his life. Akbar is supposed to have asked his soldiers whether he died. Adam Khan has died. So his soldiers replied, looks like he's not fully dead, sir, because his body is still shaking. So he orders his soldiers to bring his body again back from the ground and then again push it back from the Agra fort, from the top of the Agra fort. So second time when they pushed him again onto the ground, he died. So obviously Mahamanaga was very distraught because she lost her son. But then Akbar had to do this because Adam Khan could have been a threat to the throne. So he finished off Adam Khan like that. Then we have Akbar conquering other areas. Initially, please understand, Akbar gave a choice to the Rajput kings to accept him as their overlord and to pay tribute to him. Akbar told the Rajput kings, you pay tribute to me. That is, every year you send certain amount of money to him and then accept him as his overlord. If they do that, then he will allow them to rule, over their own ancestral jagirs, ancestral kingdoms. Initially, some of the Rajput rulers defied Akbar. They refused to accept him as an overlord or pay tribute to him. But when Akbar defeated them, then they came around and they agreed to accept Akbar as their overlord, except the Sisodias of Mewar, except the kings of Mewar, the Sisodias of Mewar. All the other Rajput kings, many of them, they fought against Akbar. Akbar defeated them, and then they accepted Akbar as their overlord, and he allowed them to rule over their kingdoms. So here we have Marta in Marwar. In 1562, he conquered that. Rulers of Marwar, Bikaner, and Jaisalmer submitted before Akbar. Then we have Garkatanga, ruled by Rani Durgavati. So she was a Gond princess ruling Madhya Pradesh. Gonds. So she was a Gond princess, the queen of Garkatanga, Rani Durgavati. So she defied Akbar. She fought again. So she refused to accept Akbar as her overlord, and along with her son Bir Narayan, she died by fighting on the battlefield. So Rani Durgavati, the ruler of Garkatanga in Gondwana, Madhya Pradesh. Then Akbar attacks Chittorgarh, Rajasthan. It was ruled by Rana Uday Singh II. Rana Uday Singh II. So he was the king of Mebar with capital Chittor. Rana Uday Singh II. Now, what is the reason as to why Akbar was interested in conquering a part of Chittor? He was not wanting to conquer the whole of Chittor. He wanted to conquer the southern parts of Chittor. What is the reason for that? Because it would be easy for the Mughals to reach Malwa and Gujarat via southern Chittor. So that was the reason. It was strategically located. He can reach Malwa and Gujarat via southern Chittor. And then from Malwa and Gujarat, he can make inroads into the Deccan. If he wants to conquer the Deccan, he can attack Deccan from Malwa and Gujarat. So he sent three embassies. Understand this? So he initially with an army of 30,000, Akbar attacked Chittor, and it was ruled by Rana Uday Singh II. Now, Rana Pratap was his son. Uday Singh's minor son was Rana Pratap. He was still a small boy, and that's a time when we have a battle which was fought between Akbar's forces of 30,000, led by Akbar, of course, and of course we have two commanders of Uday Singh II, Jaimal and Patta. So they requested. So Jaimal and Patta were two officers under Rana Uday Singh, young boys, about 17-year-old boys, Jaimal and Patta. So they requested the king, Rana Uday Singh II, to escape from the fort. So Rana Uday Singh with his queens, young children, including young Rana Pratap, they escaped from Chittor. And with 3,000, with an army of 3,000, Jaimal and Patta fought against Akbar's army of 30,000. And they held on to Chittor for a few days. But Akbar was very determined to conquer Chittor. And I think I told you in some context, we have, when I did this Jauhar, when I discussed about Jauhar, I told you this. So here in the evening, so you have the cannons, the artillery of Akbar's army firing cannons at the cannonballs at the fort of Chittor, and they were able to damage the fort walls of Chittor. In the evening, there is to be no battle in the dark. So in the twilight, Akbar noticed that somebody was supervising the repair work of the fort of Chittor. And looking at the type of dress that person was wearing, who was supervising that repair work, he understood that that person must be somebody important. So he took his rifle, he took his gun, and he shot at that man. And that man who was standing and supervising the repair work of the fort of Chittor was Jaimal, one of the commanders. So Jaimal, that bullet went and hit his leg, and Jaimal fell to the other side of the fort. He fell down. That evening there was Jauhar. So the women of Chittorgarh, they committed Jauhar, they burned themselves to death. And the next day, the men, as part of the Saka ritual, came out fighting. So Jaimal had bandaged his leg, one of his legs, and he fought bravely along with Patta. And Akbar, who was on his elephant, was watching these two boys fighting so bravely, and he was indeed inspired. He was in praise of the bravery of these boys, but of course they were outnumbered and killed. And immediately Akbar ordered the construction of two statues of Jaimal and Patta mounted on elephants. So two marble statues, black marble statue, two statues of Jaimal and Patta be made in black marble, and they seated on elephants with two spears, with each of them holding a spear in their hand. So this was immediately executed. The statues were made of black marble with Jaimal and Patta sitting on those elephants, with each of them holding a spear in their hand. And this was installed outside the main gate of the Agra fort. But unfortunately, you see, because of weathering, Rajasthan is very, very hot, and marble is also not a very strong stone. It expands and contracts like any stone would do, and then it has withered away. And only these two statues are remain. You can see here on your screen. This is the statue of Jaimal and Patta. Jaimal and Patta. The elephants are missing. They have, dismantled. They've got dismantled the elephants. So this has been kept outside the main gate of the Delhi gate, outside the Red Fort in Delhi. So in Delhi we have the Red Fort, and it has two gates. Red Fort has two gates: the Delhi gate and the Lahori gate. So outside the Delhi gate, we have two statues of Jaimal and Patta, which have been installed now. So they have been shifted from the Agra Fort, and it has been kept outside the main gate of the Delhi gate of the Red Fort. So a part of Chittor was conquered by Akbar, right? So Rajput states of Ranthambore and Bikaner also were captured and they submitted. Then we have Akbar's conquest of Gujarat. He defeated Muzaffar Shah III of Gujarat and conquered Gujarat. That is the time when Akbar saw the sea for the first time. He saw the sea for the first time and met the Portuguese also for the first time. Portuguese were established. When did the Portuguese come to India? 1498. Vasco da Gama came in 1498, the Cape route, and the Mughal Empire was established in 1526. So even before the Mughal Empire was established, the Portuguese were already there in India. And so Akbar met the Portuguese at Gujarat, and he constructed the Buland Darwaza, the tallest gateway in the world even now, at Fatehpur Sikri. So this was the city established by Akbar, Fatehpur Sikri. And Buland Darwaza is the tallest gateway in the world, 177 feet in height. You can see here, this is the Buland Darwaza. This is the Buland Darwaza at Fatehpur Sikri. It is 177 feet in height. And even now, it is the tallest gateway in the world. Tallest gateway in the world. The Buland Darwaza. Okay, thank you, Gunjan. I did not know about this. There are many places where Jauhar has been done, so it must be pretty easy there to go. But anyway, let me stick to whatever I have to cover now. We'll come back here. Gunjan, focus on the class. Since you're from Rajasthan, you will probably know more places. I only visited a few parts of Rajasthan. Okay, we'll come back here. So this is the tallest gateway in the world, the Buland Darwaza. This is to celebrate his victory over Gujarat. Okay, this was to celebrate his victory over Gujarat, Buland Darwaza. Right? Now, please understand, Akbar is the second man in the history of India. He is the second king in the history of India to establish a scientific defensive frontier, to establish the so-called scientific defensive frontier. Second man in the history of India to establish what is known as a scientific defensive frontier. What is the meaning of scientific defensive frontier? That is where the natural boundaries of India end. The natural boundaries of India end. That's where the natural boundaries of India end. And when you conquer all these four areas, you're supposed to have established a scientific defensive frontier. The conquest of Kabul, understand this, the conquest of Kabul, Kandahar, Sindh, and Baluchistan. When you conquer all these four areas, you are supposed to have established a scientific defensive frontier. Kabul, Kandahar, Sindh, Baluchistan. The first rulers to have conquered these four areas were the Mauryas. So the Mauryas were the first to conquer these four areas. Second person in our history is Akbar, Emperor Akbar. And the third and the last time these four areas were conquered by the English East India Company. English East India Company. Ankush, I've already told you, Akbar established constructed the Buland Darwaza to commemorate or celebrate his conquest of Gujarat. So the first to conquer these four areas were the Mauryas, right? Akbar, second was Akbar, and the third was the English East India Company. Did you understand that? Okay. So then we have, of course, I'll come to that. Fatehpur Sikri. See, Fatehpur Sikri was built by Akbar. See, Akbar did not have children for a long time. Yeah, that is where the natural boundaries of India end, Bhimre. Natural boundaries of India end there. During those days, India also included those areas, which are now part of Afghanistan, isn't it? Kabul, Kandahar, Sindh, Balochistan. So that's where the natural frontiers of India end. That is called scientific defensive frontier. Now, why did Akbar establish Fatehpur Sikri? I'll tell you in some time. Just hold on. Okay, since you're asking me, I'll tell you now. See, Akbar did not have children for a long time. Akbar did not have any children for a long time. And he was worried about it. Though he had many queens, he had married many women. There was a Sufi saint called Sheikh Salim Chishti. Sheikh Salim Chishti. So there was a Sufi saint called Sheikh Salim Chishti, and Akbar went to him and he opened up his heart and mind and he spoke about his feelings, that he is very sad that he doesn't have any children. So Sheikh Salim just and he requested this saint to pray on behalf of him to Allah so that he is blessed with children. So Sheikh Salim Chishti prayed on behalf of Akbar to God Allah, and he promised Akbar that he will not have one but many children and he should not worry about it. And then a son was born to Akbar who was named after this saint, that is Salim. So Akbar got a son called Salim who later became Jahangir. So Salim became Jahangir later, and he founded the city of Fatehpur Sikri in honor of this saint. Fatehpur Sikri was built by Akbar. This is near Agra, Fatehpur Sikri. So he founded the city of Fatehpur Sikri in honor of this saint called Sheikh Salim Chishti. But later it was abandoned because of water shortage. There was shortage of water. About 40 kilometers from Agra is the city of Fatehpur Sikri. Are you there with me? Okay. So Akbar is the second man in the history of India to establish a scientific defensive frontier. Then, of course, we have the conquest, the Battle of Haldi Ghati. The Battle of Haldi Ghati. This happened on June the 18th, 1576. This was fought between Rana Pratap, the king of Mewar or Chittor, the son of Rana Uday Singh II. You remember, I told you, Jaimal Patta had fought against Akbar, and Rana Uday Singh had escaped. And later you have Chittor, the successor of Rana Uday Singh was Rana Pratap. So Akbar sent 4 embassies. Understand this? Akbar wanted Rana Pratap of Mewar to accept him as his overlord and pay tribute to him. So Akbar sent 4 embassies to placate Rana Pratap. So one was under this man called Jalal Khan Kurchi. So Jalal Khan Kurchi was a close officer, very close to Akbar. He sent Jalal Khan Kurchi. Rana Pratap refused to submit or accept Akbar as overlord. Then he sent Man Singh. I'll come to that in some time. He sent Man Singh, then Raja Bhagwant Das, and later Raja Todarmal. These are the 4 ministers sent by Akbar to convince Rana Pratap to submit to accept Akbar as his overlord. But Rana Pratap, each time a delegation was sent by Akbar, he refused to submit before Akbar. So it was inevitable. It was that a war takes place between Akbar and Rana Pratap. So Akbar sent a large army under the command of Man Singh, and then happened the Battle of Haldi Ghati. So Haldi Ghati, you see, why is it called Haldi Ghati? Ghati is a valley, isn't it? Ghati is a valley. And why is it called Haldi Ghati? I believe it's called Haldi Ghati because the stones there, the stone in that valley, the mud and the stone have turmeric color. So Haldi means turmeric, as you know, right? So they have a natural turmeric color. That's why called Haldi Ghati, Battle of Haldi Ghati. Now, um, this Battle of Haldi Ghati fought in 1576. Um, June 18th, 1576 is famous because of course, Rana Pratap, who defied Akbar, and Rana Pratap, and also his horse called Chetak. So, Chetak. So here I believe, see, this was fought between Rana Pratap and Man Singh. And Man Singh was on his elephant. Man Singh was on his elephant. And when this battle began, you have Rana Pratap on his horse called Chetak, beautiful Katyavari colt. It was a Katyavari colt. It was not an Arabic horse. Um, it was not an Arab horse. It was a Katyavari colt, a local Katyavari colt, crossbred probably. And there was another horse called Natak, I believe. So an Arab horse merchant had brought 2 horses to sell it to Rana Pratap. One was Natak, and the other was Chetak. So, and he was charging a very huge amount of money for these 2 horses. And he said that he told Rana Pratap that these 2 horses should belong to, the stature of you. Nobody else should ride these horses. And that's why he's charging a huge amount of money for these 2 horses. So Natak performed a number of feats and impressed Rana Pratap, but then Natak got injured. So therefore, Natak could not run. Rana Pratap bought Chetak. He bought Chetak, and that became his favorite mount. Now, when this war began, Rana Pratap was on his horse Chetak, and this horse, I believe, stood on its hind legs. It went near the elephant of Man Singh, and on its hind legs it stood. And that's a time when, and it with its hoofs, with the front hoofs, it hammered the head of the elephant. It was a caparisoned elephant with an armored. It was an armored elephant of Man Singh. So the Chetak, the horse, stood on its hind legs and with its front hoofs hammered the head of the elephant. So the elephant got panicked. Elephant was in panic. It threw off its rider. So Man Singh fell down from the elephant because the elephant was shocked and he ran away from the battlefield. So when he fell down, so that's the time when when Rana Pratap threw the spear at Man Singh, when his horse hammered the head of the elephants with its hoofs. But then the spear missed its target and hit the Mahout, and the Mahout died. And Man Singh fell down from the elephant, but quickly the bodyguards of Man Singh surrounded him. Then Man Singh mounted another horse. But in the process, I believe Chetak was injured. Chetak was injured along with its master, Rana Pratap. So, so it was hotly chased by the Mughals. The Mughals were on their horses, and Rana Pratap was on his horse, Chetak. And it took one final leap across a stream, and then it fell down because its leg was badly, injured in this particular attack on the elephant of Man Singh. And then that brought about the death of Chetak. So this has been, mentioned in the lore. You can see here on your screen Battle of Haldigati, where um, the horse Chetak is hammering the face of the elephant with its hoofs, and that's the time when Rana Pratap threw the spear, and then later the horse died. So this has been mentioned here. You can see this picture on your screen. You go through this, you'll get it. Whatever I just not told you is mentioned here, right? And the horse died later. So this is the Chetak Smarak in Rajasthan, in the Rajasthan district, where the horse has been buried. And one of the helicopters, Indian Army helicopters, Indian Air Force helicopter rather, has been called Chetak in memory of this horse of Rana Pratap. So so this is the Battle of Haldigati, and after this battle, please understand, after 1585, Akbar did not send any campaigns against Rana Pratap. He defeated Rana Pratap, he weakened him, but he did not send any campaign after 1585. So after losing Chittor, Rana Pratap made Golconda as his capital. So he made Golconda as his capital, and he began to engage in guerrilla warfare. He continued to engage in guerrilla warfare against Akbar. But then no campaign was sent after 1585 against Rana Pratap. So then of course Akbar conquered Kashmir. He conquers Kashmir, Kabul, Orissa, Kandahar, Ahmednagar, Asirgarh, etc. So Asirgarh was the last conquest of Akbar. Akbar died in 1605. Asirgarh was conquered in 1601. Akbar sent embassies to all the Bahmani sultanates, Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, Bidar, and Birar. But none of them agreed to accept Akbar as his overlord or pay tribute to him because of the distance between Agra and South India. Because of the long distance, they probably defied Akbar. The only southern state to submit before Akbar was Asirgarh, which was conquered in the year 1601. And then, of course, we have a part of Ahmednagar, which was conquered by Akbar from Chand Bibi. Chand Bibi was the ruler of Ahmednagar. So, a part of Ahmednagar was annexed by Akbar. And Akbar died in the year 1605. So, these are the conquests of Akbar. Did you understand? Akbar died in the year 1605, and he has been buried at a place called Sikandra near Agra. Okay. So, these are the conquests of Akbar. साक्षी मुट्ठी बजाते के, कैन यू बी स्पेसिफिक साक्षी? एक मुट्ठी बाजरे के लिए पूरा देश हार जाता. नहीं साक्षी, that is with respect to Sher Shah. What you just now said, that quotation is with respect to Sher Shah, not Akbar. So I'll clarify that, Sakshi. Okay. I would have lost the empire of Hindustan for a handful of bajra. That was the statement made by Sher Shah, not Akbar. Yes, yeah. Yeah, why Jauhar made it? No, Jauhar, I told you, once, not in the court of Bhimre, I told you that, once a part of, once Jaimal's leg was wounded, then the Rajputs lost hope of continuing the struggle. And then that evening, the women committed Jauhar and the men came out fighting, and Jaimal and Patta were killed. Okay, these are the conquests of Akbar. Now let us talk about other aspects of Akbar's rule. Now look here, we have one of the battles which Akbar fought against his half brother called Mirza Hakim. Mirza Hakim was the ruler of Kabul. Please understand, he was Akbar's half brother. So Humayun had many wives, and from them many sons. One of the sons of Akbar, one of the brothers of Akbar was Mirza Hakim. Mirza Hakim. Now Mirza Hakim was the ruler of Kabul. And we have some rebels who instigated Mirza Hakim to attack India and defy Akbar. So Mirza Hakim got instigated by these rebels and he attacked India, but Akbar defeated him and later pardoned him and allowed him to rule over Kabul, continue to rule over Kabul. But later, of course, Kabul was placed under Man Singh once Mirza Hakim died. So this is in 1580-81 when Mirza Hakim rebelled against Akbar, but Akbar defeated him and replaced him on the throne of Kabul once Mirza Hakim sought the pardon of Akbar. Then one more thing you need to remember is Shaibani Khan Uzbek's son, Abdullah Khan Uzbek. So Abdullah Khan Uzbek, you remember Shaibani Khan Uzbek? He had snatched away Fargana from Babur. He had twice conquered Samarkand from Babur, and he was the one who had made Babur a king without a kingdom. So the son of Shaibani Khan Uzbek was this Abdullah Khan Uzbek. This Abdullah Khan Uzbek wanted to conquer Kandahar from the Mughals. Now, if you remember, I told you Humayun had conquered Kabul and Kandahar from Kamran, his stepbrother, but he never gave back Kandahar to the Shah of Persia. One of the reasons as to why the Shah of Persia, one of the conditions on which Shah of Persia had helped Humayun was that Humayun should conquer Kandahar from Kamran and hand over to the Shah of Persia. Even after conquering Kandahar from Kamran, Humayun had not given Kandahar to the king of Persia. He had kept Kandahar with him because it was strategically important to hold on to Kandahar. So Abdullah Khan Uzbek was determined to reconquer Kandahar from the Mughals, and Akbar was equally determined to see that Kandahar remains with the Mughals. And for 12 long years, you can understand the determination of Akbar. For 12 long years, he spent most of his time in the borders to inspire and motivate his soldiers so that they continued to fight against the Uzbeks. And only when and so he hardly came to the capital. He stayed in the northwest for about 12 years to keep his soldiers motivated. And only when he heard about the death of Abdullah Khan Uzbek, then he came back. So for 12 long years, Akbar stayed in the northwest frontier and he fought against Uzbeks. And Kandahar remained with the Mughals. But ultimately, Kandahar was lost during the time of Shah Jahan. When I come to Shah Jahan, I'll talk about it. That's the greatest failure of Shah Jahan when the Mughals permanently lost Kandahar to the king of Persia. Okay, so that's one thing. And of course, Birbal died in one of the attacks of the Yusufzais. You have a tribe called the Yusufzais in the northwest. So when he was trying to suppress the revolt of the Yusufzais, Birbal or Raja Mahesh Das, Akbar's favorite minister, Raja Mahesh Das, lost his life. And that broke the heart of Akbar. Khandesh was the last of the states, was the last conquest of Akbar. This happened in 1601. So the first of the Deccan states and also the last Deccan state to submit before Akbar. Right? Now, look here. Akbar, in his, when he comes to power, he was on a pilgrimage to Ajmer. So we have this dargah, famous dargah of Sheikh Moinuddin Chishti. Sheikh Moinuddin Chishti. At Ajmer in Rajasthan. So Akbar was on his pilgrimage, to this dargah of Sheikh Moinuddin Chishti. So Sheikh Moinuddin Chishti is the one who established the Chishti order in India, the Chishti Sufi order in India. So he was on his pilgrimage, and then on the way he had stopped over take rest and recuperate. One Rajput king, understand this, one Rajput king called Raja Bharamal Kachwaha. Raja Bharamal Kachwaha of Amer. Amer is the old name of Jaipur. What we now call Jaipur, those days was called Amer. So he was a king of Amer or Jaipur, Raja Bharamal Kachwaha. On his own, he comes to Akbar and tells Akbar that he would like to give his daughter in marriage to Akbar. Her name was Harkabai. Understand this? Harkabai. So he says, this Bharamal Kachwaha tells Akbar that he would like to give his daughter Harkabai in marriage to him. And Akbar was surprised, obviously, because he was a Muslim, right? And here a Rajput king, a Hindu king, a Rajput king is coming on his own and he wants to give his daughter in marriage to him. So Akbar thought about it for some time. And then he thought, I'm on a pilgrimage to this Ajmer Sharif Dargah. And here a girl's father is coming on his own and wants to give his daughter in marriage to me. So it's a very good omen. He saw this as a very good positive development. Probably the will of Allah. That's what he interpreted it as. And Akbar agreed to marry Harkabai. So Akbar married Harkabai and he gave her a new name, She became Maryam Uz-Zamani. Maryam Uz-Zamani. Maryam Uz-Zamani, who became the mother to the next emperor, Salim. So Maryam Uz-Zamani became the mother to the next emperor, Salim. That is Jahangir. Next emperor, Jahangir, born to Akbar and Harkabai, or Maryam Az-Zamani. Now look here. Raja Bharamal's son, understand this? Raja Bharamal's son was Raja Bhagavant Das. Raja Bhagavant Das. Raja Bhagavant Das' son was Mansingh. Both of them served under Akbar. Raja Bhagavant Das and Mansingh served under Akbar. So Raja Bharamal Kachwaha and then Raja Bhagavant Das and Mansingh, they all served under Akbar. And I told you Akbar sent four embassies to placate Rana Pratap. One was Jalal Khan Kurchi, then he sent Mansingh, then he sent Raja Bhagavant Das, and then Todramal. But all the four embassies were a failure. Did you understand here? Yeah, Raja Bhagavant Das's father was Raja Bharamal Kachwaha, and Mansingh was the son of Raja Bhagavant Das. Did you understand? Mansingh. And son of Raja Bharamal Kachwaha was Raja Bhagavant Das. Are you there with me, all of you? Clear? Then Akbar is also supposed to have married Jodhabai. Understand this? Akbar also married Jodhabai. So Jodhabai was the princess of Jodhpur. She was the princess of Jodhpur. That is, she was the princess of Marwar. Capital of Marwar is Jodhpur. So capital is Jodhpur. So she was the princess of Jodhpur, Jodhabai. So according to some sources, Jodhabai was also his wife. But then, according to some sources, they say no, Jodhabai was never his wife. So but generally most of the historians agree that Jodhabai was also one of Akbar, right? So this is about, you can see here. So he, on a visit to Khwaja Moin Chishti Dargah at Ajmer, we have Bharamal Kachwaha, who gave his daughter Harkabai in marriage to Akbar. And Harkabai became Maryam Uz-Zamani. So this is the Dargah of Ajmer Sharif. Right. So Akbar's last conquest was Asirgarh. This was in 1601. And he died in the year 1605 and he has been buried at Sikandra near Agra. This is the tomb of Akbar, Sikandra near Agra. This tomb was, the foundations were laid by Akbar himself, but Akbar could not see its completion. It was completed by Jahangir. So Akbar's tomb was completed by Jahangir. Jahangir completed Akbar's tomb. This is at Sikandra near Agra. My camera is blurring. Amanpreet says audio break ho rahi hai. What about others? Please camera is blurring. What about others? Are others facing the same problem? Maybe you have to refresh. It's clear. Somo says it's clear. Ankush, please refresh your page. Yeah, okay, fine. Others are not having this problem. So, problem from your end, Amanpreet. Please refresh your page. Okay, so this is about Akbar, right? Now, these are the conquests of Akbar. We have discussed this. Any doubts here? Any doubts? Okay, now let's talk about the Mansabdari system of Akbar. Yeah, part of Chittor, Ankush, part of Mewar was ruled by Rana Pratap, right? And then part of Chittor had already been conquered by Akbar. A part of Mewar was ruled by Rana Pratap. But finally, we have the Mughal Sisodia conflict. It ended under Jahangir. So Jahangir, during his time, we have truce between the Mughals and the Sisodias. Rana Pratap's son, Rana Amar Singh, sent his son Karan Singh to the court of Jahangir. So Rana Pratap's son was Amar Singh. So Amar Singh sent his son Karan Singh to the court of Jahangir. A mansab was given to Karan Singh. And all those territories which the Mughals had conquered from the Sisodias were given back to the Sisodias, only on the condition that Chittor fort should not be repaired. Whatever damage had been done to the Chittor fort, Chittorgarh fort, should remain like the way it is. It should not be repaired by the Sisodias. Then the Sisodias agreed to that condition, and all those territories which the Mughals had conquered from the Sisodias were returned back to the Sisodias. So good relations ensued between the Mughals and the Sisodias from the time of Jahangir. Okay. Who won the war of Panipat? What are you asking me, Sakshi? Who won the war of Panipat equal to Rana Pratap? I didn't get you. Sakshi, your question is not very clear. You have to ask me very clear questions. Where is Panipat? Where is Rana Pratap? Okay, unless you frame your question properly, I'll not be able to understand, Sakshi. We'll come back here. Let us talk about the Mansabdari system under Akbar. Anybody idea? Yeah, Bhimare. His name was Mahesh Das. Bhimare, his name was Mahesh Das, who was given the title of Birbal. Yeah, very much a Hindu. Birbal was very much a Hindu. Okay. Let's talk about Mansabdari system. Ankush says like feudalism. Okay. Anybody else has any idea about Mansabdari system? Battle of Haldigati. Not Sakshi, where are you? It is Battle of Haldigati. Rana Pratap versus Akbar, not Battle of Panipat. Battle of Haldigati. It was obviously won by Akbar. Okay, Garima says based on ranks, dual power of military and administration, says Nancy. Bhimare says like Ikta system. Okay, ruled by military unit. Okay. Okay, we'll come back here. We'll talk about it. Right. Okay. So let us talk about the Mansabdari system under Akbar. So I seek your attention now. Important segment of Mughal chapter, Mansabdari system. So let us understand this Mansabdari system. Mansabdari system. Okay, now look here. So here, Akbar divided his entire administration under the so-called Mansabdari system. Please understand this. Akbar divided his entire administration under the so-called Mansabdari system. Now, under this Mansabdari system, Mansab means what? Understand this. Mansab means rank. Mansab means rank. Rank. So Akbar assigned ranks to officers in all the departments except judicial and religious department. So all officers were given ranks or mansabs. All officers were given ranks or mansabs except those who were there in the religious and judicial department. Except those who were there in the religious and judicial department, all others were given ranks or mansabs. These mansabs varied from minimum 10 to 10,000. These mansabs varied from minimum 10 to 10,000. That is the Hazari. The Hazari. So all officers were given rank, and these ranks were given to all officers in both civil and military departments. So I told you, except religious and judicial department, all officers in all the departments, civil and military, were given ranks. And these varied from minimum 10 to 10,000. The to the Hazari. Right. Now, The Mansab system was divided into two categories. You have two categories under the Mansab system or rank system: Zat and Savar. Zat and Savar. Mansab means ranks, and Mansab system was divided into two categories: Zat and Savar. Now, what is Zat? Understand this. What is Zat? So, I may be using some words here which are they're in nowadays used in colloquial terms. Generally it is used in movies you might have seen, or generally when you speak Hindi, particularly in the northern India, northern belt, Delhi, etc., you will use those words. Zat. I'll use another word just to make you understand, so don't take it personally, don't take it otherwise. Aukat. Tumhari aukat kya hai? Zat. So that is literally the meaning of Zat. Aapki aukat. Aukat is what? Level. So Zat is, it determined the status. Understand this. Zat determined the status and salary of the mansabdar. समझ में आ गया ना? It determined the status of the mansabdar and his salary. What status is what status is that officer in the administrative hierarchy, and what is his salary? Like for example, you have group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, or class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4 officials. So class 1 or group A, gazetted officer, right? Gazetted post. You sign with a green color ink. Similarly, group D or class 4, peons, or peons. That is class 4. So what obviously, as of all of you know, the starting salary of a class 1 officer will be more than the starting salary of a class 4 officer or class 4 personnel, isn't it? Similarly, Za determine the status and salary of a mansabdar. Okay, are you clear till here? Garima, just focus on whatever I'm telling you, then I'll take your doubts. Don't get confused. Right? Now I'll come back here. Zat determine the status and salary of the mansabdar. And Savar. What is Savar? Savar determined the number of troopers with horses and equipment to be maintained by mansabdar. Savar rank determined the number of troopers, with horses and equipment to be maintained by a mansabdar. So Savar rank determines the number of troopers. What is the meaning of trooper here? Trooper is somebody who sits on the horse and he fights. You understand? Trooper is somebody who sits on the horse and he will fight. So number of troopers with horses and equipment to be maintained by a mansabdar. For example, understand this. So Za determines the status and salary of the mansabdars. Savar rank determines the number of troopers with horses and equipment to be maintained by a mansabdar. Now look here. There were three categories of mansabdars. There were three types of mansabdars, or three categories of mansabdars. Three categories of mansabdars. Now look here. Number one, I'll use a chart here. Just look here. So this is first category, second category, third category. We have Zat and Savar. So be with me in the class. Be in the moment. Whatever I'm discussing, be in the moment. You might have your doubts. Keep it aside. Just write down in a post-it page and keep it with you. A post-it card and keep it with you. Later you can ask me doubts just in case you forget. So try to be in the moment so that when I ask you questions, you can try to clarify the doubts, or you can answer those doubts. Or try to answer my question also. Now look here. First category Mansabdar. Who is the first category Mansabdar? So I told you there were three categories of Mansabdars. First category Mansabdar. Number one, those whose Sawar rank were equal to their Zat rank. Those whose Sawar rank, Zat rank, those whose Zat rank were equal to their Sawar rank. That is first category Mansabdar. For example, I told you Mansabs varied from 10 to 10,000. So here first category Mansabdar is those whose Zat rank. For example, let's say 500 Zat. 500, those whose Zat rank were equal to Sawar rank. So 500, 500. This is first category Mansabdar. His Zat rank is equal to his Sawar rank. This is first category Mansabdar. Second category Mansabdar. Those whose Sawar rank were more than half of their Zat rank. For example, let's say, what is the half of 500? It's a stupid question I'm asking you, but just it is just to make you think. Hello. So what is the half of 500? 250. Now, those whose Sawar rank were more than half of their Zat rank. Half of 500 is 250. More than half, let us say 300. This is second category Mansabdar. Those whose Sawar rank were more than half of the Zat rank. Half of that, in this case, in this example, I have taken 500. Half of 500 is 250. More than half is 300. So those whose Sawar rank were more than half of the Zat rank. Second category Mansabdar. Third category Mansabdar. Those whose Sawar rank were less than half of their Zat rank. 500, half of 500 is 250. Less than 250 is 200. So this is third category Mansabdar. Those whose Sawar rank were less than half of their Zat rank. Did you understand till here? We'll go step by step. So when I ask you a question, you tell me whether you have understood or not. Three categories of Mansabdars. Those whose Zat rank were equal to Sawar rank. 500, 500. First category Mansabdar. Second category Mansabdar. Those whose Sawar rank were more than half of their Zat rank. 500, 300. The third category Mansabdar. Those whose Sawar rank were less than half of their Zat rank. Clear? Now, if you look at the Sawar rank here, come back here. What does it say? What is Sawar rank? Number of troopers with horses and equipment to be maintained by some Mansabdar. Now look here. A Mansabdar was required to maintain certain category of horses, elephants, mules, carts, soldiers, etc. For example, look here. Let's say a Mansabdar, I'll use another page. I'll use this page only because I let it be in one page. Let's say a Mansabdar of 500 Zat and 500 Sawar. 500, 500. So let's say this is the rank of a Mansabdar, 500, 500. So he has to maintain, this was fixed, horses, let's say horses, elephants, then mules or donkeys, bullock carts, infantry. This was fixed, 500 Zat, 500 Sawar rank. So horses, let's say he has to maintain, let's say 250 horses or 200 horses. Elephants, 100 elephants. Mules, let's say 250 mules. Carts, let's say 500 bullock carts. Infantry, let us say 1,000 soldiers. This was fixed. Okay, so 500 Zat, 500 Sawar. This category Mansabdar has to have this many number of horses, elephants, mules, carts, infantry, etc. Now let us say you have a higher category Mansabdar. 500, instead of 500, 500, it will be 5,000, 5,000. So 5,000, Mansabdar of 5,000, Zat and 5,000 Sawar. So therefore his liability will be more. He has more powers, definitely, but he also has more liabilities. Similarly, for example, instead of 200 horses, this man will have 2,000 horses. 5,000 Zat, 5,000 Sawar Mansabdar. Elephant, instead of 100 elephants, you'll have 1,000 elephants. Mules, instead of 250 elephants, you'll have maybe 2,500 mules. Carts, instead of 500 carts, you'll have, let's say, 5,000 carts. Infantry, instead of 1,000 soldiers, you'll have 10,000 soldiers. So this was fixed. Are you there with me? So I'm just give an example. Bhimre, 5,000 Zat, 5,000 Sabar, 500, 500. So highest category of Mansabdar. Are you there with me? So those whose Savar rank were equal to Zat rank was considered to be the first category Mansabdar. Now I move on. Now Zat rank was more important than Savar rank. Zat rank was more important than Savar rank. There could be a Mansabdar only with a Zat rank, but no Savar rank. There could be a Mansabdar only with a Zat rank, but no Savar rank. Right? But there can never be a Mansabdar only with a Savar rank without a Zat rank. That is impossible. So there cannot be a Mansabdar only with a Savar rank without a Zat rank. That was not possible. So you cannot have only a Savar rank without a Zat rank, because Zat was more important than Savar. Did you understand? Did you understand here? So there could be a Mansabdar only with a Zat rank without a Savar rank. But there can never be a Mansabdar without with only a Savar rank without a Zat rank. Because here Zat was more important than Savar. Zat rank was more important than Savar rank. Are you there with me? There can be a Mansabdar only with a Zat rank, but without a Savar rank. But never a Mansabdar only with a Savar rank without a Zat rank. That can never happen. Right? Now, Mansabdars were paid either in cash or in land grants. Understand this. Salary of a Mansabdar. I'll write M in, this is salary of a Mansabdar. Salary of a Mansabdar could be either in cash or in Jagirs, land grants. Those Mansabdars who got their salary in cash were called Nakdi Mansabdar. If you understand a little bit of Hindi, you'll easily relate to what I'm telling you. Nakd, Nakd is cash, isn't it? So those Mansabdars who received their salary in cash were called Nakdi Mansabdars. And those Mansabdars who received their salary in the form of land grants, were called Jagirdars. They were called Jagirdars. Because they received their salary in the form of land grants or Jagirs. They're called Jagirdars. Did you understand? So such Mansabdars were called Jagirdars also, because they received their salary in the form of Jagirs, land grants. Now, what was the duty of a Mansabdar? So let us say this is a Jagir. See, this is a Jagir. Okay. So this is his Jagir. This is a Jagir of a Mansabdar. What is his duty? This area. He has to maintain law and order in this area. I'll write L-O, L/O. That is law and order. So for maintaining law and order, he can keep an army. He'll recruit an army. Then he will collect land revenue from the farmers. And then he will act as a judge over this area. Right? So he'll have an army to maintain law and order. He'll collect land revenue and then he'll act as a judge. Now, the Mansabdar did not own any personal lands in this area. No personal lands. He cannot claim any part of his Jagir as his own. So he's not owning any lands. No personal lands. Right? And a Mansabdar could be transferable from one Mansab to another Mansab. So Mansabdars were transferable. Mansabdars were transferable. Why they were transferable? So that they don't develop local roots. You see, this Mansabdar here over this Jagir, he is virtually a king in that area. He is a representative of the government in that area. But then he is collecting land revenue. He has his own army and is also acting as a judge. So whatever the king does at the central level, this Mansabdar is doing at the local level, isn't it? He's maintaining law and order, he's collecting land revenue, and he's acting as a judge. So let us say there's a Mansabdar who's very popular among the people, and people worship him. They like him very much. He's a fair judge. He doesn't commit any atrocities on the innocent people. He's a man of values. He takes care of the administration of the Jagir very nicely, very efficiently. So people like him very much. So he's got lot. He's very popular there. And tomorrow, if the central authority becomes weak, for example, under the feudal system, when this king became weak or he was succeeded by a weak ruler, the Samantas generally asserted themselves, isn't it? They tried to break away from the central authority and proclaim themselves independent. So similarly, here the same thing might happen, and because of that fear of such a thing might happen, the Mansabdar might develop local routes, local support systems, and he might want to break away from the central authority. The Mansabdars are transferable. So there was no personal lands which the Mansabdars held. He was transferable. And once the Mansabdar died, please understand, once the Mansabdar died, all his wealth was confiscated by the government, by the Department of Baitul Mal. We have a department called Department of Baitul Mal. This department, called the Department of Baitul Mal, confiscated the entire property of the Mansabdar. So whatever wealth he has, whatever he has, whatever he has saved, or whatever it is his wealth, everything is taken away by the government. So the family members and the Mansabdar will enjoy till that person is in the position of the Mansabdar. So generally they spend a lot of money because they know that once that Mansabdar dies or he loses his job, everything is taken away by the government. So this is about the Mansabdari system. Did you understand? This is about the Mansabdari system. So clear, all of you? Yeah, that's how it was, Ankush. There could be a Mansabdar with only a Zat rank, but never a Savar rank. But then it can never be that a Mansabdar can only have a Savar rank without a Zat rank. Zat rank was more important than Savar rank. Keep that in mind. Zat rank was more important than Savar rank. Yeah, Zat determines the status and salary of the Mansabdar. Okay. Zat determines the status and salary of the Mansabdar. He can or cannot have a Savar rank. It cannot be the other way around. One more thing is, most Mansabdars were Jagirdars. Here, please understand, most Mansabdars were Jagirdars because those Mansabdars who received their salary in the form of Jagirs were called Jagirdars. Right? So most Mansabdars were Jagirdars also. But then all Jagirdars were not necessarily Mansabdars. Keep that in mind. Just hold on, let me clarify that. So all Jagirdars, or rather I'll put it this way, most Mansabdars were Jagirdars also because they received the salary in Jagirs. But all Jagirdars were not Mansabdars. So most Mansabdars were Jagirdars because they received their salary in the form of Jagirs or land grants. But all Jagirdars were not necessarily Mansabdars. I'll tell you, let me explain this part. But all Jagirdars were not Mansabdars. For example, let's say There's a jester, there's a court jester. Okay, he is very good at making people laugh. Court jester. Or let's say there's a poet in the court of Akbar, and that morning Akbar is in a very bad mood. Okay, he had a fight with Jodha, and also Harkabai joined her, and both of them had they fought with their husband Akbar, and Akbar is in a very bad mood. So he's come back, come to the court sulking. He's still a husband, even if he's emperor, he's still a husband. So he's feeling very bad, and then let us say the court jester begins to notice that, and he begins to crack jokes, and everybody start laughing, and Akbar's mood also changes. He also begins to laugh, and then he falls down from the throne laughing. Right? Let's take a hypothetical example like that. So Akbar is very happy because this court jester called A. Let us name him as A. This A court jester made Akbar very very happy. So what did Akbar do? He gave him a jagir. He gave him, let's say, 100 villages has his jagir. Okay, so this man, this jester, has got 100 villages, right? Has a jagir. But is he a mansabdar? Is he holding any rank? No. So all Jagirdars were not necessarily Mansabdars, because the emperor could have rewarded somebody with Jagirs without giving that person any rank. He might not be an official of the government also. So all Mansabdars were necessarily Jagirdars, but all Jagirdars were not Mansabdars. Did you understand that part? Hello? Are you there with me? Mansabdari system. Are you clear? Okay. So can we go for a 10 minutes break instead of 15 minutes break? Can we go for a 10 minutes break? I have a lot of things to cover. Uh, no Savar rank means no liabilities. Not necessarily. Zat determined the status and salary of the. He had certain duties to perform. That's why he was given the Zat rank. Getting a salary, and he'll not be given a salary just like that without doing some duty, isn't it? So he had certain responsibilities and liabilities towards the government. But he did not have any troopers. He did not keep any army with him. That's the only difference. Okay, so we'll go for a 10 minutes break. Is it fine? You go for a 10 minutes break and come back. We'll meet at 1916, 716. Status is, what is his position in the government? Aukat, Zat. Okay. You go for a, how much time do you want? Like 15 minutes? Okay, go. Go for a 15 minutes break and come back. So we meet at what time? 19:07. It will be very late. 10 minutes is fine. We meet at 7. You go for it, 10, 12 minutes, 7:20. We'll meet at 7:20. We meet at 7:20. Okay, carry on. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can we continue? Okay. Good evening. Can we continue? Now, look here. One more thing I forgot to mention about the Mansabdari system is this, that Mansabdars were expected to maintain double the number of horses, and that is called the Bishti system. The Bishti. What is the Bishti system? That is 10, 20 horses. 10, 20. This is called the Bishti system or 10, 20. That is, if there were 10 troopers, right, they were supposed to maintain 20 horses, double the number of horses. Why? Because something like a stepney, you have your scooter or car, you have a spare tire in the dicky, right, in the car or in a scooter. And if there's a puncture, what we do? What you do? You will replace the spare tire, and then you continue your journey, and then you get the puncture removed, so that there's no problem or obstruction in your journey. Similarly, it's an animal, a horse. It could be injured or it could be wanting rest, and it cannot march further because it requires rest, or it may be pregnant and there's a time for delivery nearby. So for all those reasons, you require a spare horse. That's why they are supposed to maintain double the number of horses. That is called the Bishti system, 10, 20 horses. So this is about Mansardari system. Let us come to other aspects of Akbar's rule. The um, uh, yeah, then of course we have one more thing I forgot to mention is this. I told you that the Mansabdars were transferable. Mansabdars were transferable from one place to another place, except the Rajput Mansabdars. You please understand, Rajput Mansabdars, they were given Watan Jagirs. What is the meaning of Watan Jagir? They were given what is called Watan Jagirs. That is, beyond their ancestral homes, they were not transferable. That was the privilege Akbar gave to the Rajputs only, to the Rajput Mansabdars only. For example, I told you that Raja Bharamal Kachwaha, Raja Bharamal Kachwaha of Amer or Jaipur, he gave his daughter in marriage to Akbar. Raja Bharamal's Kachwaha was succeeded by his son, Raja Bhagwan Das. Raja Bhagwant Das. So he accepted Akbar as his overlord. So he also joined the Mughal service. He was also given a rank or a mansab, and he joined the Mughal service. So Raja Bhagwan Das automatically became the ruler of Amer or Jaipur. He will not be sent away to some other place as a mansabdar of a new place. He'll be only given Amer to rule over. Okay, then next you have Man Singh, the son of Bhagwan Das. He became the ruler of Amer, right? So that is called Watan Jagirs. They were not transferable beyond their Watan Jagirs. Watan is their ancestral homelands. So that's a privilege Akbar gave. Are you there with me? Right. Then one more thing is, you have something called the Jagirdari crisis. Which Jagirdari crisis, which led one of the reasons for the decline of the Mughal Empire is this. What is called Jagirdari crisis? What is this Jagirdari crisis? Let us understand this. What is this Jagirdari crisis? So let's say this is the Mughal Empire. Let's say this, I'm taking a hypothetical example. Let's say this is the Mughal Empire, and we have Akbar, right? So this is the core area. Then Akbar gave away all these areas to his Mansabdars. So this is Akbar. Akbar gave away all these areas to his various Mansabdars as their Jagirs. Then came next emperor. Who was the next emperor? Jahangir. So Jahangir gave away all these areas, has his to the various Mansabdars as their Jagirs. So these are the various areas given away by Jahangir, has salaries to his Mansabdars. Then came Shah Jahan. So Shah Jahan also rewarded his Mansabdars by giving them fertile belts of land as Jagirs. Then came Aurangzeb. Now, during the time of Aurangzeb, we have something called Jagirdari crisis which happened. What is this Jagirdari crisis? That is, you see, we have something called Jama and Hasil. You have to understand this. Jama and Hasil. What is Jama? Estimated income from land. Jama is estimated income. And what is Hasil? Actual income. Jama is estimated income. What is the estimated income from that particular area? Right? And what is Hasil, which is the actual income, what actually comes to your hands. Now, I'm trying to explain to you what is Jagirdari crisis. So here, all the fertile belts of land had been given away to various Mansabdars under Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan. During the later period of Aurangzeb's reign, what we notice is when he wanted to reward his Mansabdars by giving them very lucrative Jagirs, he found it difficult to give them fertile belts of land. He found it difficult. For example, let's say this is Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb has given away all these areas. These are all very fertile belts of land, let's say, to his various Mansabdars. But later, let's say he wanted to still reward his Mansabdars with Jagirs. He found it difficult to find fertile belts of land. So let us say these are the fertile belts of land. These are the these are the areas given away to various other Mansabdars. And let's say let's say a Mansabdar called A is given this area, has his Jagir. Now he has been told that the Jama of this place, estimated income is 2 lakhs per annum. 2 lakhs per annum. That is the Jama or estimated income from that place. So that's what he has been told. So he's very happy that the emperor has given him an area which can yield 2 lakh revenue per annum. Right? That is his estimated income. But after the harvest, what this Mansabdar called A noticed was the hasil was actually only 1 lakh. Only 1 lakh or maybe just 50,000 rupees, 50,000, right? So the Jama was inflated. The hasil was much lesser than what, the actuals are much lesser than what was supposed to be the estimated income. And that led to a lot of dissatisfaction, frustration on the part of the Mansabdars. That is called Jagirdari crisis, which became one of the reasons for the decline of the Mughal Empire. Did you understand what is Jagirdari crisis here? Yeah, Jagirdari crisis towards the end of Aurangzeb's reign, and even after that, you have Jagirdari crisis. Okay, so the Jama was inflated and Hasil was very, very less, and that led to frustration and anger amongst the Mansabdars. Right. Now, this is about the Mansabdari system. We'll come back here. Let us talk about the land revenue system under Akbar. Land revenue system of Akbar, or the revenue reforms brought about by Akbar. Now, what is the land revenue system of Akbar? Land revenue system. Okay, Varsha, I got it. So, land revenue system. Now, look here. Initially, Akbar followed the land revenue system of Sher Shah. So, Sher Shah has been called the forerunner of Akbar. When I come to Sher Shah later, we will discuss it. So, many of the revenue reforms of Sher Shah were copied by Akbar. So, Akbar copied many of the revenue systems of Sher Shah. And a minister called Todarmal had worked under Sher Shah. Todarmal. He also began to work under Akbar, rather Todarmal. So initially, Akbar followed the revenue system of Sher Shah, and then we have experiments done by Raja Todermal and Muzaffar Khan Turbati. Understand this? Muzaffar Khan Turbati. Muzaffar Khan Turbati. So these two people, Raja Todermal and Muzaffar Khan Turbati, did experiments. And whatever they implemented has come to be known as the Darsala system. Darsala system, also called Zapti system or Todermal's Bandobast system. Todermal's Bandobast system. So it has been called by various names. Darsala system, Zapti system, or Todermal's Bandobast system. So here, what is this Todermal's Bandobast system? Now, please understand. Imagine this is a huge belt of land. Let's say this is a land of 10,000 acres. This is 10,000 acres of land. Now, experiments were done on this 10,000 acres for the next 10 years. So for 10 years, experiments were done on this 10,000 acres. 10 years, experiments were done by both these officers, Todermal and Muzaffar Khan Turbati. Now, land was divided into 4 categories. Understand this. Depending upon its fertility, land was divided into 4 categories in these 10,000 acres. Polaj, Parauti, Chachar, and Banjar. Polaj, Parauti, Chachar, Banjar. What is Polaj land? Polaj land is the most fertile land. You could grow 2 to 3 crops in a year. Most fertile land, you could grow 2 to 3 crops per year in a year. Polaj land. Then what is Parauti land? Parauti land is it is left fallow every alternate years. Left fallow every alternate year. That is, if you cultivate it 1 year, understand this. If Parauti land is you cultivate it 1 year, then you leave it fallow for the next year. Then you cultivate it another year, then you leave it fallow for the next year, and so on and so forth. Okay, so every alternate year you cultivate and leave it fallow. That's called Parauti land. Then Chachar. What is Chachar land? Chachar land is you leave it fallow for 3 to 4 years. Right? So left fallow for 3 to 4 years. That's called Chachar land. Like for example, let's say you cultivated 1 year, then you don't cultivate it for 3 or 4 years. Right? Then again you cultivate it. Then again you leave it fallow for 3 or 4 years. Then again you cultivate it. That's called Chachar. Did you get me that? Banjar. Banjar is you cannot cultivate anything on this. A very, very barren land, useless land. Banjar is useless land. You cannot cultivate anything. So depending upon the productivity of land, how fertile it was, land was divided into 4 categories: Polaj, Paroti, Chachar, Banjar. Then what? Then in the last 10 years, what are the various crops grown? Imagine this. So I'm giving you an example. Just understand this, right? I'm sure you can draw a better diagram than me, but this is only to make you understand. So in the last 10 years, let's say this is the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. In the last 10 years, in these 10,000 acres, what are the various crops grown and what is their average prices? That was taken into consideration. So imagine this. These are the various crops, okay, grown, let's say, and these are the prices. let's say paddy, right? So paddy, then wheat, let's say bajra, etc. So what has been the price of paddy in the last 10 years? What's the price? So what is the average produce of paddy in the last 10 years? What has been the average produce from the last 10 years? So that was taken into consideration, and the average price was taken into consideration. So this is calculated average produce of all the crops grown in the last 10 years in that piece of land of 10,000 acres. What is the average prices? And one third of the average produce fixed in rupees per bigha was fixed as the land revenue. That's how that is called rice system. This was the rice system which was calculated. Average produce of all these crops in the last 10 years, average prices of all those crops in the last 10 years. That was calculated, and one third of the average produce fixed in rupees per bigha was fixed as the land revenue, and that is called rice system. So he was able to get a pretty much fixed source of income from the land every year. Even if there is, fluctuation in nature, the rains come late, or rains have come very early, or a part of the crop has been destroyed, etc., etc. We're taking all the vagaries of nature into consideration. He was able to reach a mean with this experiment of his. Did you understand? That is called rice system, which was basically copied by Akbar from Sher Shah. Sher Shah had devised the rice system. The same was copied by Akbar. No construction, sir. No, nothing can be grown on Banjar land. Nothing can be grown on Banjar land. That is with respect to productivity. You can construct anything anywhere, Ankush. Here we're talking about land revenue system of Akbar. Did you understand here? So average produce, you can see here, just hold on. So initially we have Sher Shah's experiment, which was followed. Then you have Dahasara system or Zapti system or Todamal's Bandobast system. Finally, in 1582, Akbar instituted a new system. So 10 years experiments were done by these people, Muzaffar Khan Turbati and Raja Todarmal. Under this, average produce of different crops, average prices prevailing over the last 10 years were calculated. One third of the average produce fixed in rupees per bigha was fixed as a state share. Average taken about 10 years. Last 10 years, what are the various crops grown? What are the average prices of those crops? And one third of the average produce fixed in rupees per bigha was fixed as a land revenue. Did you understand? What is the average produce of all these crops? So first year, what was the average produce? Let us say, so let's say one acre or one acre, you have, let's say, 50 bags of paddy. Second year, you have 60 bags of paddy. Third year, 40 bags, and so on and so forth. And what are the average prices of paddy prevailing in the last 10 years? What is the average prices? That was calculated in all these three types of lands: Pulaj, Paroti, Chachar. And then one third of the average produce fixed in rupees of bigha was fixed as a land revenue. So that's how he was able to reach a mean as such. Did you understand? So this is called Todamal's Bandobast system or Zapti system or Dhasala system. It's also called Aini Dhasala. Right? So land was divided to four categories: Pulaj, Paroti, Chachar, Banja. Land revenue was known as Mal or Kharaj. Then we have different systems of crop sharing. Galla Bakshi, Bauli, Batai, Kankut, and Nasak. Let's understand this. Different types of crop sharing between the government and the producer. That's called Batai. Batai is crop sharing. Crop sharing between government and the producer. Now, first of all, we have what is called Galla Bakshi or Bauli, also sometimes called Batai, sharing of crop between the government and the producer. There were three types: Batai, Khet Batai, Lang Batai. Batai is basically crop sharing. Khet Batai is what? Khet Batai is where the harvest is done. Understand this? Khet Batai. Khet Batai. That is, you have the division after harvest, you have the crop heaps are divided. For example, let's say this is the heap of crop they have, these are the heaps they have made and kept after the harvest. So it has not been winnowed, where you have the grain from the chaff. Chaff and grain have not been divided, they have not been separated. In other words, it has not been milled, where the chaff and the grain are separated. Our harvest has been done, and the heaps of harvest have been dumped in heaps. So, like for example, 4 heaps. So the government officials will come, and then they will divide the uh, heaps. Like for example, this is the heap of the government. They will take it and go away. That is called Khet Patai. Lung Patai is what? Lung Patai is where the grain has been separated from the chaff, right? So they have already separated the grain from the chaff, like this, let's say, and then the government takes it away. One heap is taken away after the separation of the grain from the chaff. Grain and chaff are separated, and the government takes away particular heap. That's called lung batai. Did you get me that? Okay, so that is called khet batai. Khet batai is after harvest heaps are divided between the government and the producer. And lung batai is where the grain has been separated from the chaff, and then the government officials will take away a particular heap or heaps as government share. That's called a lung batai. So different types of batais are there. Then of course you have kankut. What is kankut? That is assessment of land revenue based on sample survey. So sample survey, for example, you have this huge piece of land, you have huge belt of land, right? You cannot measure it. It will take a lot of time, and then assess the revenue. Therefore, only a part of this land is measured. So let us say this sample survey. So they'll measure this land, this small piece of land, right? And then they will make an assessment as to what is the amount of money, land revenue to be paid from this piece of land. And the same is applied to the rest of the portions of the land. The same measurement is applied to the rest of the rest of the length of the land. That's called sample survey. That is called kankut, sample survey. And nasak is based on past experience. Assessment of land revenue based on past experience. Last few years or few decades, the farmer has been paying a particular amount of land revenue or a part of his land or on a piece of land. The same he has to give next year also. That's called nasak, based on past experience. Lung batai, I told you, Ankush, lung batai is where the grain has been separated from the chaff and heaps of grains have been dumped, right, on the farmer's field. The government will take away a particular heap or heaps as their share. That's called lung batai. Khet batai is where the grain and the chaff have not been separated. Only the harvest has been done, and then it has been stacked in one place in heaps. Only particular heaps are taken away by the government. That's called lung batai. So, in other words, please understand, the whole idea is to assess the land revenue based on actuals, on hasil, not on the jama, not on the estimated income, but on hasil. The whole idea was that, so that it is not straining the farmer. Did you understand? The whole idea is not to strain the farmer. Land revenue was collected only on the hasil, not on the jama. Ankush, did you get me that? Hello, all of you. Bhimre is all the three out of the 4 types of land: Polaj, Paroti, Chachar, Banjar. Banjar, you forget it. The first 3 types: Polaj, Paroti, Chachar. Those those were calculated. Average of all those different types of land, different types of crops grown, that was calculated, and 1/3 of the average produced fixed in rupees per bigha was fixed as the land revenue. Okay, right. Then we come back here. Then we come to Nankar. What is Nankar? 1/10 of the produce was given to the landlord. to the zamindar who assisted the government, in the collection of revenue. That's called nankar. So here it was a zamindar who went to the lands of each individual farmer. He will get the land measured. Then he'll assess the revenue to be paid by that farmer. Therefore, the zamindar was given one third of the produce, has his share. That is called nankar. One tenth of the produce. One tenth of the produce was given as nankar or allowance to the zamindar who collected the revenue on behalf of the government. Okay, who assisted the government in the collection of revenue. That is called nankar. Malikana. What is Malikana? When the government officials directly collected the revenue from the farmer without taking the zamindar into consideration. But they had to give some compensation to the zamindar because he was the traditional zamindar of that area. That's called Malikana. 25% of the perquisites lost. Right? That is called Malikana. I repeat, Nankar is the what? Nankar is the zamindar will go to each individual farmer's land. He'll get the land measured and he'll assess the land revenue. So he is assisting the government in the collection of revenue. Therefore, he was given one tenth of the produce. So if the farmer has grown 100 bags of paddy, tenth of that, that is 10 bags, will go away to the zamindar as his allowance. That's called nankar. Okay. What is Malikana? Malikana is government officials themselves will go and assess the revenue. They will measure the land. They'll assess the land revenue to be paid by the percent. They'll not take the zamindar's help. But then zamindar has been the traditional zamindar of that area from bygone times. Therefore, he was given a compensation. That was called Malikana. Did you get me that? That is called Malikana. Then we have yes, Ankush. So Ankush instead of yeah, Malikana, I have already told you. No, Mansabdar is only an official. He's an official of that area. Zamindar is a traditional zamindar, landlord of that area. There's a difference. Zamindar is a traditional landlord of that area, right? Whereas Mansabdar is a government official having a particular rank. And he could be either paid in cash or in kind. If he was paid in Jagirs, he was called Jagirdar also. Right. Yeah, Mansabdar is, of course, higher than the Zamindars. That is true. Mansabdar was only an official and he was higher than the Zamindars in terms of stature in the government. Are you there with me? Can I move on? Then we have different types of water lifting devices. You can see here Denkli, Chadas, Sakya. What is Denkli? Chadas, Sakya. I have put pictures here. You can see here Sakya is a Persian wheel. You can see this is called a Sakya. Sakya or a Persian wheel. It enabled one to draw water from a deeper level for irrigation. That's called Sakya or a Persian wheel. This is Sakya or a Persian wheel. Then Chadas, something like a bucket. You can see this is like a bucket, Chadas. So you can draw water from a well or a tank or a river. That's called Chadas. And Shaduf or Denkli. So this is called Shaduf or Denkli. You have a counterweight here. You can see you have a counterweight. So that person will dip this bucket into the water and he'll lift it. But then once he lifts it beyond a particular level, the counterweight will take over. The counterweight will easily lift the bucket to the next level. That's called Shadu for Denkli. These are water lifting devices. I've told you, Divya, I've already told you, there were many Jagirdas without holding a rank. I gave the example of a poet or a jester. The emperor can give away that person some lands as his Jagir. So he is a Jagirdar, but he'll not be a Mansabdar. I've already answered that. Then we'll come back here. What is Kutkasht, Bahikasht, Balahars, and Muzariums? What is a Kutkasht farmer? Kutkasht farmer. So look here on your screen. Kutkasht. Kutkasht farmer is somebody who is staying in his own village. Understand this? Kutkasht. Kutkasht is a farmer who's staying in his own village. He owns his land. He also has his own implements. and then he will work on his land, and whatever is the land revenue due to the government, he'll pay it off. And if he has additional cattle or additional implements, he will lend it to the his poorer brethren. That's called Kutkash farmer. So peasant who resided in his own village has his own implements, then he will cultivate the land himself, and then he will give away the land revenue, whatever the land revenue is due to the government. He's called a Kutkash farmer. And if he has got extra implements and cattle, he can lend it to his poorer brethren in the village. That's called Kutkash farmer. Pie caste farmer. Pie caste farmer is a non-resident cultivator. He'll come from the neighboring village, and he will work on somebody else's land in another village on a contractual basis. That's called Pahai Kashta farmer. In his own village, he might have some personal lands, but he'll go and work in a neighboring village on somebody else's land on a contractual basis. That's called Pahai Kashta. Muzarium, or also called Raitis, they belong to the same village. They do not have their own lands or implements, and they will borrow it from the Kutkash farmer. Okay, they will be dependent on the Kutkash for their supply. And there were two types of Mozarium, tenants at will, and those who had hereditary tenancy rights, called Paltis in Rajasthan. Those who were hereditary tenant farmers, those are called Paltis in Rajasthan. Those are tenants at will. They'll go and they'll work on the land of somebody else as a tenant. That's called Muzarian, also called Rayatis. These are different types of farmers. Did you understand? Look at the picture, Bhimre. It is self-explanatory. So this farmer, you can see here, he's lifting the bucket from the lake or river, and then once he lifts it beyond a particular height, the counterweight will take over. The counterweight will again lift it it will become much easier for him because he's using a counterweight at the other end. Did you understand? So these are the different types of farmers: Kutkast, Pahikast, then Muzarium or Rayatis. Right. Now, Akbar is the first person who reorganized. Let us talk about Akbar's administration. He reorganized the administration on the following lines. He was the one who laid the foundation of the Mughal administrative superstructure. Now look here. You have the empire. The Mughal Empire was divided into provinces called Subas. Then below the provinces came the district called Sarkar. Below the district came something like a taluk or a tehsil called Pargana. And below the taluk came the village. So this is how the Mughal administration or empire was divided hierarchically, like this. Now, at the provincial level, you have a subedar. Then you have another officer called a Faujdar, who was of equal rank. So Subedar and Faujdar were of equal rank. So he was maintaining checks and balances. Akbar was trying to maintain checks and balances. The idea was not to allow one officer to enjoy all the powers because it might lead to arbitrariness, misuse of powers. So he appointed two officers of equal rank at the provincial level, district level, and the Pargana level. Two officers of equal rank. Now the head of a province was a Subedar. There were how many provinces at the time of in 1580? So in 1580, there were 12 Subas. By the time Akbar died in 1605, there were 15 Subas. Because of conquest of new areas, additional Subas had been added. Under Shah Jahan, they became 19. Under Shah Jahan, there were 19 Subas. Under Aurangzeb, there were 21 Subas. So please understand, the officials of the provinces, district and taluks were directly appointed by the central government. And the government at the provincial level copied or mimicked the government at the central level. Now look here on your screen. You see here, I have made a chart for you. Just hold, let us discuss this. So you have the empire divided into provinces called Subas. You have an officer called Subedar, Sipah Salar, or Naim. He was the governor of this province. And he was assisted, the Subedar was assisted by a Faujdar in the discharge of his executive functions. The Subedar did not have power of inflicting death sentence. Subedar could not give death sentence. So in other words, the ultimate judge was Akbar, the emperor at the central level. Only he could give death sentence. The Subedar cannot give capital punishment or death sentence. Now, in every province, these are the various officials who were appointed. Understand this? These are the various officials who were appointed at the provincial level. Diwan. Diwan was in charge of finance. Diwan was in charge of finance at the provincial level. Diwan. Bakshi. He was in charge of the army at the provincial level, at the Suba level. Bakshi. Sadar. He was in charge of religious affairs. Religious affairs. Qazi was a judge. Right? Then you have Vakyanavis. He was the news reporter. Bayutat, keeper of government property and official trustee. Muhatasib, censor of public morals. Censor of public morals. Censor of public morals. Censor of public morals. So these are the officials who were common in all the provinces. Are you there with me? A Diwan in charge of finance. So yeah. So here 15 Subhas by the time Akbar died. You can see here 15 Subhas by the time Akbar died. So he divided the empire into 12 Subhas in 1580. Then there were 19 Subhas under Shah Jahan and 21 Subhas under Aurangzeb. That was much later, Ankush. What you're talking about, Bengal Subha, that was much later. Right? And the Murshid Quli Khan and others. Right? You study that as part of modern India. We'll come back here. Did you understand? So he introduced uniformity of administration in all the provinces, districts, and the Pargana level. So these officials were very common. Diwan looked after the financial aspect of the province. Bakshi was in charge of the provincial army. Sadar, religious affairs at the provincial level. Qazi, judge. Vakya Navis, news reporter. Then Bayutat was keeper of government property and official trustee. Muhatasib was censor of public morals. What do you mean by censor of public morals? Muhatasib. That is, as a Muslim, you are supposed to pray 5 times in a day. You're not supposed to drink. According to Islam, you're not supposed to drink or have intoxicating substances, etc. If you're not following those rules, strictly following those rules, the Muhatasib will see that you follow those rules. Pray 5 times, etc. That is Muhatasib. And the Fauzdar acted as a check on the powers of the Subedar. Right? Then you have the district or the Sarkar. District or the Sarkar. You have an officer called Amil Munsif Amal Guzar, who was the in charge of revenue administration. And the Amil was assisted by a treasurer or Khazana, treasurer. Karkun were clerks and accountants. Kotwal was the chief of the city police. Then we have the Pargana or the Taluk level, Pargana level. You have a Shikdar there. So Kananga was the revenue head who gave loans to farmers, Takavi loans to farmers, maintained records. And his was a hereditary office. He was called Desai in Deccan, Gujarat. The Kanango was called Desai in Deccan, Gujarat. Daroga was the police head at the Pargana level. And of course, you strike off the sentence. It's not correct. Fauzdar, you strike off the sentence, please. This is wrong. Right. Then we come to the village. Village headman was in charge of the village. You have an accountant or a patwari who maintained the revenue book called Bahi or Bihi. So he maintained a revenue book. So this is the uniform system of administration introduced by Akbar. He was the one who laid the foundation of the Mughal administration. For all the emperors, this was introduced by Akbar Ankush, and it remained even after Akbar. He was the one who laid the foundation, and it remained after that, after him also. But the number of subhas increased. Are you there with me? So this is the administration introduced by Akbar, uniform system of administration. Then Kotwal is in charge of town administration, Kotwal. Then we have different departments. You can see here, Diwan or Wazir was head of the revenue department. Mir Bakshi, he was the head of the military department, but he was not the commander-in-chief. CNC means commander-in-chief. He was not the commander-in-chief. He was only the paymaster general. He paid the salaries of the officials. He was only the paymaster general of the army. Mir Saman, imperial household. Sadar, religious grants. Qazi, judicial department. In charge of judicial department. Are you all of you, are you clear? Can I go on? Can I go to the next aspect of Akbar's rule, the religious ideas of Akbar? Any doubts? Any clarifications required till here? Any clarifications required? No. Okay. Now look here. Let us talk about the religious policy of Akbar. Religious policy of Akbar. Now, Akbar was a person who was illiterate. He was illiterate. But then we see that he introduced a number of social welfare measures. What are the various social welfare measures introduced? Social welfare measures. You see, he discouraged sati. Very interestingly, he discouraged sati. Then forcible conversions of prisoners of war into Islam. So he banned forcible conversions of POWs to Islam, prisoners of war to Islam. Then he abolished the pilgrim tax. Abolished the pilgrim tax. What is this pilgrim tax? So Hindu pilgrims, when they visit holy places, when they visit their holy places like Amarnath caves, Mathura, Ayodhya, etc., they had to pay a tax. Akbar felt it is unfair and unjust to collect taxes only from Hindu pilgrims when they visit their holy places. So he abolished the pilgrim tax and also the jizya, tax payable by non-Muslims in the Muslim kingdom. So he abolished jizya. Then he discouraged sati. He discouraged child marriages. Then he prohibited circumcision of boys below 12 years. Prohibited circumcision below 12 years. So you have something called khatna among Muslims. Even now they practice khatna. It is done by only the boys. It is implemented only on the boys. So he prohibited circumcision of boys below 12 years. All right. Then Akbar was a person. So these are some of the welfare measures he brought about. And also conversions for the sake of marriages. He also prohibited conversions for the sake of marriages. So Muslim, according to Islam, Muslim can marry 4 times. So many of the non-Muslims might want to want to marry have more than one wife, and they might therefore want to convert themselves to Islam. So he prohibited that, conversions to Islam for the sake of marriages, right? So these are some of the welfare measures brought about by Akbar. At the same time, Akbar was a person who was inquisitive to know what is there in all the religions. Initially, what he did is he built a building. He built a building called Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri. Ibadat Khana. So this was a building in Fatehpur Sikri. And on every Friday, Akbar would invite Sunni Muslims. So Sunni Muslims, Muslim gurus were invited to this Ibadat Khana, and there was one throne attached to a pillar. So Akbar would sit on the throne, which was attached to a pillar, and then he will listen to discourses given by Sunni Muslim teachers. So once he came to know much about Islam and the Sharia, etc., he opened the doors of the Ibadat Khana to other religions, people of other religions. For example, Hinduism, then Jainism, then Zoroastrianism, Christianity. So, for example, we have two Christian fathers, Portuguese Christian fathers, Montserrat and Acqueva. So they came and spoke about Christianity. Then you have uh, uh, Purushottam Das. Purushottam Das represented Hinduism. Then Rajshekhar represented Jainism. Then Dastur Meherji Rana represented Zoroastrianism. So these are the various gurus or teachers who came and spoke about their own religion. And Akbar came to know, everything about what is there in Hinduism, in Christianity, in Jainism, in the Parsi religion, etc. So he came to know much about all these religions. Then what happened is, after some time, these gurus, these religious teachers, began to fight amongst themselves in the Ibadat Khana. Why? Because they began to claim their own religion has superior to other religions. The Hindu guru would say Hinduism is the best religion. No other religion comes close to it. The same opinion was given by the Christian father or the Jain teacher or the Islamic guru. So Akbar got very angry with all these teachers. He dismissed all of them from the Ibadat Khana. But taking the essence of all these religions, he founded a faith, not a religion. He founded a way of life. You can call it as a way of life called Tawheed-i Ilahi. He called it as Tawheed-i Ilahi. Tawheed-i Ilahi. And the word din was added to it 80 years later. So it later came to be called Din-i Ilahi. Right? So it contained the essence of all these religions: Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Parsi religion, Jainism, etc. Now, people who wanted to follow the Din-i Ilahi or Tawheed-i Ilahi, Akbar gave them a shast or a blessing. He gave them a shast or a blessing, and only he never made it compulsory. He never forced the Tawheed-i Ilahi or Din-i Ilahi upon his followers. Therefore, only few people became the followers of Din-i Ilahi. Like, for example, you have Abul Fazl, Faizi, and Birbal. Only these people followed the Tawheed-i Ilahi. Now, you have a critic of Akbar called Badauni. Badauni is the greatest critic of Akbar. He was the one who criticized Akbar. Badauni says that Akbar was trying to found a new religion. He was trying to found a new religion. But historians don't agree to this opinion of Badauni. It was only what was Akbar trying to do then? He was only trying to create a class of loyal followers before the throne, before the emperor. Somebody who followed Tawheed Ilahi had to give up four things for the cause of the emperor. He should be prepared to give up four things. What are the four things he should be prepared to give up for the cause of the emperor? His life, honor, property, and religion. So somebody who followed Tawheed Ilahi should be prepared to give up his life, his own life, for the sake of the emperor, his honor or self-respect, his property, and also religion. So Akbar was only trying to create a class of loyal followers before the throne or before the emperor. And only few people, became the followers of the Dina Ilahi or Tawhid Ilahi. And just as Dhamma died with Ashoka, the Tawhid Ilahi also died along with Akbar. Now, um, we have something called Mazhar Declaration of Akbar as part of this religious policy. Please understand, what is this Mazhar Declaration? Mazhar Declaration. What is this Mazhar Declaration? Now, Mazhar Declaration is, now look here. Let's say there are some lines in the Holy Quran. Okay, so let us say this is the Holy Quran, and there are some lines here. Like, for example, there are about 3-4 lines in one page. In another page, there are, let's say, um, 2-3 lines. And you have the Maulvis, that is, the Maulvi is the head of a mosque who is an expert in interpreting the Holy Quran, etc. So let us say the Maulvis have difference of opinion in interpreting some lines in the Holy Quran. For example, there's a Maulvi called A, there's another person called B, C, D, E. So each of these Maulvis have interpret these few lines in the Holy Quran in their own way. So A says that this is the meaning of these lines. B has a slightly different opinion. He interprets those 4 or 5 lines in a different manner. Similarly, C, D, E. So when this discrepancy arises, where different Maulvis interpret a few lines in the Holy Quran in a different manner, the matter is taken to Akbar. And Akbar will decide whose interpretation is the right interpretation. For example, Akbar might say, I believe that Maulvi C, whatever interpretation has been given by Maulvi C, his interpretation is the right interpretation. That is called Mazhar Declaration. So here Akbar became the Imam-e-Adil. Akbar through this became what is called Imam-e-Adil. That is the chief Imam. He became the chief Imam. So he is the highest Imam. He is the highest authority to interpret whenever there is any discrepancy in the Holy Quran or the Sharia. Did you understand? That is called Mazhar Declaration. So, in other words, he combined the office of the Pope and Alexander. He was the highest political authority and highest religious authority also. So that's why it is said that he was trying to act as Alexander as well as the Pope. No, it's not Akbar's religion. It is definitely not an effort on the part of Akbar to found a new religion. It's only an accusation made by Badauni, and historians don't agree to it. He was never trying to found a new religion. It was only, you can call it as a way of life. He was only trying to create a class of loyal followers before the throne. Did you understand Mazhar Declaration? Can you raise your hands? Hello? So the ultimate authority would be Akbar when it comes to interpreting certain sections of the Holy Quran. Okay, great. So this is about Akbar for you. You can see here on your screen, this is the Ibadat Khana, a building which was built in Fatehpur Sikri. And here you can see Akbar listening in the painting. You can see here Akbar sitting and listening to discourses given by various gurus. So who are the various people invited? You can call the Ibadat Khana as the first nursery of secularism in India. You can call the Ibadat Khana as the first nursery of secularism in India. It was a unique experiment in improving the theological discourse. So 1562, he stopped the practice of converting prisoners of war to Islam. Pilgrim tax was abolished in 1563, jizya in 1564, right? And these are the various scholars. You can see here a painting in the Asian Civilization Museum. Akbar is praying to sun god in this painting. So these are the various scholars: Purushottam Das, Hindu, Maharji Rana, Parsi, Hari Vijay Suri, Jain, Antonio Montserrat, and Adolfo Acqueva, who were Portuguese Christian fathers. So these are all the people who participated in the Ibadat Khana discussions, and that led to the Mazhar Declaration, 1579. If there were more than one interpretation of Islamic law, Akbar was entitled to choose any one of the interpretations in the interest of good order. Thus, Akbar became Imam-e-Adil. Later, he continued debates in the Ibadat Khana. I told you, because all these gurus began to fight amongst themselves, claiming their own religion as superior to other religions, right? And ultimately, it resulted in Tawhid-e-Ilahi. The word din was added to it 80 years later, right? So this is about Akbar. And of course, you have a number of books which were translated from Sanskrit into Persian. One book was Ramayana, which was translated into Persian language under the title Jahan-e-Safar. It got a new name called Jahan-e-Safar. Similarly, the Mahabharata was translated to Persian under the it was called Mahabharata. Um, 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 I forget the name. What is it? Razamnama. Mahabharata came to be called Razamnama. A new name, Mahabharata, into Persian language. Similarly, the Atharva Veda came to be called Ved Atharvan. So a number of books were translated from Sanskrit into Persian under the orders of Akbar. Right? He also ordered the writing of a new history of the world in 1582-83, because you have the Islamic millennium, which was shortly coming to an end, and that book came to be called Tariq Alfi, a history of the millennium, a new history of the world, which was written during the time of Akbar under Akbar's order. Right? Akbar died in 1605, and he was buried at Sikandara. So the next emperor who succeeded Akbar was Jahangir. Are you there with me, all of you? This is about Akbar. So I have taken a lot of time to finish Akbar, but then any doubts regarding Akbar? Can I continue? Can we go to the next emperor? Jahangir. Imam is the head of a mosque. Imam. Imam is something like a Maulvi or Imam. No, he was basically trying to create order within the Islamic religion, because otherwise the people will squabble among themselves, the Maulvis. So when Akbar has already decided which is the right interpretation, there'll be no more scope for any squabbling amongst the religious teachers. So he was trying to contain in his own hands both the powers of Alexander as well as the Pope. We can call that. Okay, we'll come back here. Jahangir. Let's talk about Jahangir. Interesting man, Jahangir. I'll tell you a love story if time permits. His love story, not mine. I'll tell you his love story. Right? You must have seen this movie, right? Yeah, Salim's mother is Harkabai. Harkabai, who became, Maryam uz Zamani. Harkabai, who became Maryam uz Zamani. So Jahangir. So here, let's talk about Jahangir. Very interesting chap. Jahangir. Yeah. So 1605 to 27. So ruled from 1605 to 27. Jahangir. So Jahangir's real name was Salim, as you know. Salim. His name was Salim. He was born to Akbar and Harkabai. Born to Akbar and Harkabai, or Maryam uz Zamani. Now, Salim was born after a lot of mannat, prayers. I told you Akbar did not have children for many, many, many years. And then he prayed to Sheikh Salim Chishti. And Salim Chishti prayed to God Allah on behalf of Akbar. And then he blessed Akbar, telling him that, don't worry, you will have not one but many children. And then, with a lot of prayers, a son was born to Akbar. And he was named Salim after Sheikh Salim Chishti. Now, the women of Akbar's family, Akbar's mother, foster mother, and others gave a lot of love and affection to Salim. So he became a spoiled brat. Whatever he demanded, it was given to him. So he was a fellow who grew up to be a careless fellow, careless, arrogant, carefree, all those things. You can use all those epithets to describe Salim. And he never took interest in administration. Akbar wanted Salim to take interest in administration, learn the nuances of administration, because tomorrow he's going to be the emperor. But then Salim had no interest in all these things. So he would roam around, living a very carefree life. And he also liked one girl. Nothing wrong in liking a girl, but then I'll tell you his love story later. He liked one girl called Meherun Nisa. Meherun Nisa. So this was his, teenage sweetheart, Meherun-Nisa. He wanted to marry her, but then Akbar was against this particular relationship because Meherun-Nisa came from a very simple background. She came from a very humble background, and Akbar felt Salim, this girl is not the right girl, or her family is not the right connection for Salim, because tomorrow Salim is going to be the emperor. Anyway, Meherun-Nisa was married off to another boy. His name was Sher Afghan. Sher Afghan. So he was an officer in the Mughal army posted in faraway Bengal. So Meherun-Nisa went away to live with her husband, and after marriage, of course. And Meherun-Nisa from Sher Afghan got a daughter. Her name was Ladli Begum. Understand these words? Ladli Begum. Ladli Begum. So time passed by. Salim seemed to have forgotten Meherun-Nisa. He married other women, including Jagat Gosain, who became the mother to the next emperor, Khurram. So we'll talk about it later. So Salim had other wives, other queens, and it seems that he had forgotten Meherun-Nisa. I'll come to his love story later. Now, Salim was, I told you, a carefree, a careless boy who did not take interest in administration or studies. And Akbar was very worried about this this particular personality of Salim. He wanted to counsel him. He was always shouting at him, trying to discipline him. And then when and Salim continued to not change. So therefore, Akbar requested one of his ministers. His name was Abul Fazl. So Akbar requested one of his ministers called Abul Fazl to go and advise Salim. Abul Fazl was a very old man, and Akbar, treated him like his own father. So he requested Abul Fazl to go and advise Salim. So Abul Fazl was making his way, to go and talk to Salim. And Salim somehow came to know that Abul Fazl was sent by his father Akbar to advise him, and he did not like it. Salim had a very close friend. His name was Bir Singh Bundela. Bir Singh Bundela. Bir Singh Bundela. He was the prince of the Bundelas. Chhattisgarh and Champatrai Bundela. So Bundelas were tribes in Madhya Pradesh, from the region of Bundelkhand. So this boy, Bir Singh Bundela, a friend of Salim, Salim told him, please do something, Bir Singh, because, the Abul Fazl is coming to advise me. I'm not interested in listening to anybody. So Bir Singh Bundela used his brain and he murdered Abul Fazl. So he, murdered Abul Fazl. Salim did not tell Bir Singh Bundela, murder Abul Fazl, but Bir Singh Bundela, used his discretion and murdered Abul Fazl. Akbar was so angry with Salim that he was on the verge of getting Salim arrested. But then we have Akbar's mother, Hamida Banu Begum, Akbar's foster mother, on all the other women of Akbar's family. They tried to pacify Akbar, so that the emperor cools down. So Akbar was very, very angry with him. Now Salim had other women. He had other children. What are the various children Salim had? Understand this? Kusru. So these are the children of Salim: Kusru, Parvez, Khurram, and Shahryar. So these are the four surviving children of Salim: Kusru, Parvez, Khurram, Shahryar. Eldest son was Kusru. Now Akbar would tell Salim, if you don't take more interest in administration, discipline yourself, then I will announce Khusro as my successor. So Akbar was threatening Salim that he will make Khusro, his son, as the next successor, and not Salim. Right? But then towards the end of Akbar's life, father and son reconciled. Salim went and fell at Akbar's feet, asked him to pardon him. And Akbar also pardoned Salim, and he nominated Salim as his successor. So once Akbar died, we have Salim becoming the emperor, and he takes the title of Jahangir. World conqueror. Jahangir means world conqueror. World conqueror. Now, when Salim became Jahangir, he issued 12 ordinances. I'll come to that in some time, just hold on. So when he became the emperor, on his coronation, on the day he was coronated as emperor, he issued 12 orders or ordinances. So what are the ordinances? Many taxes were excused, like the Mirwahi and Tamga taxes, toll taxes, where he excused them. Then he ordered the construction of mosques, rest houses, or sarais on the highways, so that the possibility of robbery can be reduced to a large extent. Those Mansabdars who were holding positions, from his father's time, they were allowed to continue in their positions. Then, if a rich man died, the property of that rich man will go to his children, to his legal heirs. In case that rich man did not have any family members, any children, then that will go to the state treasury. It will be confiscated by the state, and that property will be used in welfare measures. Then he introduced prohibition. He introduced he discouraged discouraged consumption of alcohol, though he himself was a drunkard. So consumption of alcohol and bhang and other intoxicating substances were discouraged by Jahangir, though he himself was addicted to drinking. So like that, he issued 12 ordinances. And also Thursday and Sunday, throughout the Mughal Empire, he banned meat eating. Thursday because that was the day he was coronated, and Sunday because that happened to be Emperor Akbar's birthday. So Akbar's birthday was on a Sunday. So that day, on a Sunday and Thursday, because that was the day he was coronated as emperor. These 2 days, no meat to be consumed throughout the Mughal Empire. So like this, he introduced 12 ordinances. Jahangir. When Jahangir came to power in 1605, it seemed that he had forgotten his first love. His first love was Meherun-Nisa. As a young boy, as a teenager, he used to like this girl. But then I told you, Meherun-Nisa was married off to another person called Sher Afghan, and from him, she got a daughter called Ladli Begum. Now, once he became emperor in 1605, it looked like he remembered his first love, and he wanted her back in his life. He wanted her back in his life. So a conspiracy was hatched. So here it is. Some historians say this is not a true story, but most of the historians agree to the story. So what is the story? It says that a conspiracy was hatched by Jahangir to see that Meherun-Nisa is back in her life. So a skirmish. So he was posted. Sher Afghan was posted in Bengal. So in a skirmish, Sher Afghan was in a revolt. It was a stage-managed revolt. Sher Afghan was killed. So Sher Afghan was killed in this revolt or skirmish, and Meherun-Nisa became a widow, and she was brought to the palace as a help. And then for 3 years he ignored Meherun-Nisa, but then he acted on the mind of Meherun-Nisa indirectly. He promoted her father and brother to important positions. So Meherun-Nisa had a father. His name was Mirza Giyas Beg. Mirza Giyas Beg. Mirza Giyas Beg. He was given the title of Itimad ud-Dawla. He was given the title of Itimad ud-Dawla. And suddenly he was made the Wazir or Prime Minister of the Mughal Empire. He was only a joint diwan, a low level official in the government. Suddenly he was made Wazir or Prime Minister. Then she had a brother, Mirza Abul Hasan. Mirza Abul Hasan. He was given the title of Asaf Khan, and he was made Khan-i-Saman, head of the royal household, Khan-i-Saman. So suddenly, from nowhere, these two people, father and son, that is the father of Meherun-Nisa and the brother of Meherun-Nisa, began to became one of the most influential people in the Mughal court and in the Mughal government. And every day, whom do you think they'll praise? They'll praise, obviously, the emperor. And this made a nice impact on Meherun-Nisa. And after 3 years, he proposed marriage through her father. So he told Mirza Giyas Beg that would like to marry his daughter. And, Meherun-Nisa agreed to marry Jahangir. He was the happiest man in the world. He married her and he gave her a title. Noor Mahal. So Meherun-Nisa became Noor Mahal, the light of the palace, and later Noor Jahan, the light of the world. So he made her his chief queen. So story of Jahangir I'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll finish Mughal Empire and we'll start with Marathas and we'll finish Marathas, and then we'll start with Vijayanagar, Suri dynasty and Vijayanagar later. Okay, you carry on. I have run out of time. Thank you and good night to all of you. There's no Urvashi, Gunjan. Who is the Urvashi crush of Salim? I didn't understand. So, Meherunisa. Meherunisa was the crush of Salim, right? Okay. Ankush says, Aurat ka chakkar. Okay, fine. Not Aurat, ladki ka chakkar. Okay, carry on, carry on. Good night. We'll continue the story tomorrow. Jahangir story. Okay, good night. Have a good night's sleep. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you. I'm logging out.